Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news episode where we talk about the week's news, as it would imply. Do you know what? I need a better thing to say after I do that first part of the intro. I never have a good explanation.
You're really deciding that now after how long of doing this video?
Yeah, because I always think about it at the moment, and then like a little bit later, time passes and I just forget. And then next episode,
it's another week, and it's like,
yeah.
Well, here we go again.
It's been 2 weeks since the last episode because we took a week off because we were busy schedule wise. So we alternated just 1 week of the TV news, then 1 week of the movie news. But we're back to normal.
It feels kind of weird that we missed a week for
TV. It does feel a bit weird. Luckily, last week wasn't actually. I mean, there's some stuff here from last week, but if I was to cut out last week's stuff and just have this week's, or maybe more. Better from my point here, the opposite. If I cut out all this week's stuff, there'd only be about 25 to 30% of this, I think.
So it would have been a light week last week.
It'd been a lighter week. It'd have been one of those weeks where we'd probably hit 30 minutes, but even that would have some padding. We'd be tangenting and...
There'd have been... they were saving it all for this week, weren't they? Because they wanted to give us all the juicy details.
Well, here's the thing. The upfronts are starting... I don't know if they've started yet or if they don't start till Monday, but in preparation for the upfronts, all of the networks have been announcing renewals, pickups, cancellations... Whoa boy, we've got a list. We have got a big list. You know how I always say at the start, we've got some quick things to start off? That's still true, because normally cancellations and renewals are quick things. And technically these are all quick things in that my news documentation just has one thing for each
But they're kind
line.
of the main event right now.
But there's a lot of them. So we're gonna dive right in a second, that is, because just to get out of the way, we also pick our favourite episode of TV at the end of the week and give you updates and stuff and what's coming up on the channel and all that kind of thing. There's a Patreon update this week as well. There's a new thing on Patreon we'll tell you about at the end, so stick around for that. But without further ado, we are going to get into the week's news. So starting off with renewals, right? We're going to do renewals.
So you want to leave them on the edge of the seat going, oh, what's missing?
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. This is not every single thing that's been renewed and cancelled. It's a lot. I picked things that we've talked about before, seem relevant to our audience. Not necessarily all things that we've covered necessarily in terms of reviewing or anything like that, but stuff that was either relevant to us directly, stuff that I thought was relevant to our audience that they might like even though we don't cover it because it's, you know, a genre show or it's this or it's that, or it's something that we have heavily at least talked about on the news. Those are the criteria for the most part. And then one or two had some other reasons that for, you know, maybe I'll think of them when I get to them, maybe I won't, but here's what I've got. So here's the renewals that we've got here on the news show. So first up, very quickly this one, very surprising almost, but Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid TV show that YouTube Red just launched this past month, has been renewed for season 2. There's going to be a season 2 of a Karate Kid show, which is funny to me. It's much like with Ash vs Evil Dead, because it means we're going to be at a point where there's way more of this show than there ever was of the original movies. Yeah. I mean, it's probably already at that point. Well, maybe not.
It's going to be about equaling.
Half-hour episodes, so that's about 5 hours. So, yeah, so it's probably... I mean, because actually, when we looked up the first Karate Kid movie, we were surprised that it was all over 2 hours long. So maybe they've not quite made it yet. But
it's longer than you think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 2 hours 15 minutes, that first Karate Kid. I do not remember it being a long movie, but there you go.
Yeah, we were looking, you were like, it's got to be only about 90 minutes.
90 minutes, 100 minutes, that typical length. And, sure enough, there it was. In all its 2 hour plus glory. Blind Spot has been renewed for season 4 by NBC. Not much to say, except it probably means that we'll still not explain why Lady Sif wasn't in Thor Ragnarok and has just been missing since.
She's still busy, is what you're saying.
She's still busy, yes. She's on Blind Spot. Outlander has been renewed for seasons 5 and 6 at Starz, so that got a 2-season renewal. So that's obviously quite successful for that. Season 4's not even aired yet. I think season 4's shooting right now. So
that's particularly bold then.
Yeah, so they're particularly happy with how Outlander's performing. That's something I have to check out at some point because Ronald D. Moore's involved and he did Battlestar Galactica, which I liked a lot.
I keep looking at it and I'm going, I know there's people involved. I mean, I should like this, but it kind of looks just like it doesn't really appeal to me for some reason. I'm not really sure what it is about it. Kind of looks bland.
Come on, cat. I'm back, folks.
Cats are the worst. And I knew it was a cat as soon as you started. Oh, I'm like, right, but oh,
What can I say? They don't operate around my schedule. So that's Outlander at Stars. Next up, Santa Clarita Diet has been renewed for season 3 on Netflix. So that's Clarita Diet. I made a point of saying that again because I know I butchered the Clarita the first time. That's the Drew Barrymore comedy on Netflix with Timothy Olyphant. We did not like the first episode all that much, but if you enjoy the show, you're getting a third season. So happy news for you. CW renewed the 100 for season 6. So that's
which
still
was strong because it's only had like 2 or 3 episodes of season 5 aired, so that was an early decision for them on that one.
So that's trucking along. The very final thing that CW renewed, because they renewed like a bunch of stuff back in like February, March. You know, we had a bunch of early renewals. All the superhero shows were already renewed. They did 100, and then there's a bunch of cancellations, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there was one thing. There was only one show left that they hadn't either renewed or cancelled. There was one remaining show that hadn't been mentioned, and luckily it came down to a renewal, and that was iZombie for season 5. Got renewed, so that's good news because I like that show.
Yeah, it's fun.
And the actor who plays Ravi,
it's fantastic on Twitter.
He is fantastic on Twitter, but more to the point, he promised that him and the actor who plays Babino would get tattoos if they get renewed or something to that effect. And an article actually like mentioned this in the headline. Says, "Oh, iZombie got renewed, so he has to get a tattoo." And he just quote tweeted it saying, "I've made a huge mistake."
He'll go through with it. He is great on Twitter. He's been very nervous all week about the renewal and just been tweeting to distract himself.
He was joking about how he was buying lots of stuff, and he should have waited for the renewal before buying a giant Millennium Falcon. What's Lego's return policy? So he's a good sport on Twitter. He's funny to follow if you like that show. So I'd recommend it. So that's CW renewals. Not a lot because they'd already renewed most of their stuff before. Yeah. Speechless has been renewed for season 3 at ABC. That's good stuff. I've still only watched one episode of it, but I'm really excited about binging it at some point.
I've seen season 1 and it's fantastic.
Yes, I'm excited about binging that because the first episode was really surprising when I tried it. So that is good news. It's good to hear. Here's some stuff that's very relevant to us. The Handmaid's Tale has been renewed for season 3 at Hulu.
Cool.
Show's fantastic. So
I think I'm less enthusiastic about that just because I expected it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, of course they've renewed it.
Likewise, Westworld has been renewed for season 3 at HBO.
Again, obviously.
Which they did after. I think they did that before because I think Handmaid's Tale and Westworld were the two that are from last week. That's holdover news from last week, and
Westworld definitely is.
And I think Westworld actually got renewed before the second episode of season 2 even aired. I think it was before the second episode.
Okay, I thought it was just after, but
either way, very notable. They're that confident. They get one episode out, they're seeing how it's doing, and they are confident. So that 5-season plan that we heard that the showrunners had seems like it's probably going to. We're 3/5 renewed to get there.
We're in no real danger.
So that is good news. And then the final renewal, which this one's particularly notable for how extreme it is, Rick and Morty, which has kind of been in this weird limbo because they've been negotiating with the creators.
It's been very public as well about how they've been, they're going, we're not working on it till you renew us.
Yeah, Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, who run the show, they've made a deal, and Rick and Morty has been renewed for 70 episodes. To put that into context, seasons 1, 2, and 3, which already exist, have 10 episodes each. One has 11, but
we've got like 30 odd episodes at the minute.
31, exactly 31. This puts a show that's only on 31 episodes to 101, guaranteed. So I don't know if that means there's going to be 7 seasons of 10. Given how long the current seasons have been, that's what it sounds like. But ordering this many in one go makes it feel like, well, maybe they'll do 4 seasons of
maybe
something.
Given how long it takes them to work on it and get it out, though, it might be easier just to do the batches of 10 and just keep them going. At least then you can drip feed the content rather than be you can have
but I'm just
20 episodes every 3 years.
What I think's baffling to me about this is that this is like, assuming they stick to the same schedule and they keep to 10 a year, this is a 7-year commitment.
It hasn't been 10 a year, has it?
Not quite. There was a gap between 2 and 3, but it's not. But
yeah.
But I'm assuming that if they're locked into this for 70 episodes, even if they don't quite hit exactly once per year with a season, this is at least a 7-year commitment.
At least, yeah. It's insane.
Go on, name me one other show that's given a 70 episode renewal. I mean, there's probably some kind of examples, you know, like let's say it's like a variety show that's on daily, like every week. Then okay, that gets 70 episodes.
I'm trying to think if any network shows have ever had a 3-season, because you know sometimes we get 2-season renewals, right?
2-season renewals. And then
we get a 3-season when they're like 20-odd episodes. It's like, it's kind of getting up there.
But even the ones I can think of recently that have had 2-season renewals have been like seasons of like 16 episodes and not 22.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, oh, This Is Us, right?
Yeah, because that wasn't full 22, I don't think.
That was like 16 or 18.
Yeah. So, I'm not it's weird. But obviously, Rick and Morty is a giant hit for Adult Swim.
Oh, it's the biggest thing they've ever had by far.
It is, and what's more is that even the comic books are selling really well. Like, I always hear about how the trades for Rick and Morty are like selling at comic shops really, really well. So, Rick and Morty has a rabid fan base, and they are trying to keep a hold of it. They are like, no, we want more of this. We want this for the rest of the time. That's Simpsons. They're getting rivaled. If we could pump out the episodes as quickly as that, we would be paying you to do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
They probably would. I still have to go back and watch season 3, but I do enjoy the show. I like season 1 too.
I gave up about halfway through season 2. That was alright. I just kind of got a bit bored.
That's fair. I enjoy Dan Harmon's comedy, so big fan of Community.
I do in general. Honestly, I think the fan base put me off a bit.
I just think all the fan base just watch the show.
I couldn't. I didn't. It's not like I went seeking the fan base. It's just, especially around that time when I was watching it, when people were waiting for season 3. It was everywhere, and I just got sick of them.
I'm sure they are what I hear about them, but I have never encountered the Rick and Morty fan base.
You live a very sheltered internet life.
People always say how awful they are, and I'm sure they are. Like, a lot of fan bases have their awful segments, but I just watch the show. I don't go and.
There was something else recently that I was like, you've never seen this on the internet, and you were like, no, you never come across it. I can't remember what it was. And I just coupled with this, I'm like, you just must never leave your internet bubble.
I go and play a place on the internet. I don't feel the need to go and talk about a show like that. So I never, if I'm on a message board and there's a Rick and Morty thread, I just don't go in there because I'm like, nah, I don't.
Oh no, I don't even go onto Rick and Morty threads. I'll just be on a various thing and it'll spiral into Rick and Morty around that time. It did anyway because it was airing, and it would be just like, oh, piss off! I don't want this.
You're basically describing how I feel about Star Wars.
Fair enough, but the Rick and Morty fan base was more aggressive than a Star Wars fan base, in my experience.
Oh, piss off!
In my experience,
Star Wars. Hey, at least Rick and Morty dies down between seasons. Star Wars never ends. It just
Star
is
Wars
there.
is eternal.
It's persistent, like cancer.
Better than cancer, though. Even you can't argue that.
Debatable.
I can see you trying to justify it in your head, and I can see going through your head is how insensitive of it would it be if you argued this. Yeah, exactly.
It's a cancer, and the tumor is named Hayden Christensen.
So I'll argue with that part.
Anyway, where was it? Yeah, so 70 episode renewal for Rick and Morty. Big news. So if you're a fan of that show, you cannot be disappointed with that. I will happily check it out. I enjoy the show. I will binge season 3 at some point. Maybe I'll let a few seasons build up and binge them all at the end. Comedies with me, I tend to go either way. Where I'll sometimes I love, because I've actually I'll save this actually because it's in
I know what you're going for. Yeah,
but there's some comedies where I'll just let them build up for a couple of years and then binge like 2 or 3 seasons because I like watching them that way.
Yeah, I know what you were going to mention.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. We're getting there. So we're going to go into the cancellations now. Although we're starting off with one that's not really a cancellation because the show just never existed. And obviously there's a lot of pilots that never went through this week because obviously they had all the pilots and We've done this a couple of times where back when they announced pilots were in development, and then we talked about back in like February time, when all the pilots were ordered. So now we're at the point where, okay, out of all the pilots that were ordered, which ones have been picked up to the series?
Yeah.
So obviously there's a good batch that don't get picked up. And while a lot of them exist, and there's a lot we talked about, this one I felt was worth mentioning, and that is the Bad Boys spin-off, which did not get picked up. The new Cagney and Lacey also didn't get picked up. And those seem like surefire hits because they had name recognition.
The Tremors one.
Tremors, yeah, oh, that was earlier though, because they're off sci-fi or off cycle.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it in with these big name ones that.
Oh sure.
And I mentioned that one because it got the trailer leaked. This week.
Yeah. Interestingly, the trailer for the pilot, because they actually shot a pilot for Tremors, of course. You can actually go see that trailer if you want to, and it does feel a little bit off in the tone. What I thought was curious though was that for a sci-fi show, it was in 2.35 to 1. The aspect ratio was like super cinematic, and I thought that was really curious. Cause
maybe they wanted to keep true to the spirit of Tremors.
Because I don't even remember what ratio. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen Tremors, so I don't remember.
I watched it like 8 months ago, and I don't remember.
But sci-fi's now, because obviously some networks or some cable networks are starting to experiment with letting them do the Netflix ratio and stuff like that. But sci-fi, I don't think I've seen them do that, so that really stood out to me. But
did Channel Zero do it at any point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was just straight 16:9.
Oh, fair enough.
And I know obviously Legion on FX does do its shifting, but it's still mostly 16:9.
It is, and then it changes for certain effects in certain scenes.
But hey, so yeah, Bad Boys spin-off, LA's Finest, which has Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba attached to it, has not been picked up. However, they are going to shop it around. They specifically mentioned that. NBC's turned it down. They're going to shop it around to see if anyone else wants it.
I feel like, okay, you got the Bad Boys name, you got someone like Jessica Alba attached.
No, they don't have the Bad Boys name because they called it LA's Finest, like a bunch of idiots.
Fine, but in the marketing, they've got the Bad Boys name. They're going to ignore that.
Do you know what I think's so weird about it though? If they called it Bad Girls, they could make the obvious connection and it wouldn't feel weird. But I think it'd feel really weird though if they're going to promote this show, which is it's two women, we've got two women buddy cops, and your entire marketing hinges on the fact that this is the spin-off of Bad Boys.
And you haven't got some sort of Bad Boys reference in the title.
Yeah, because I feel like Bad Girls makes it clear that, okay, this is connected to that, but we're still celebrating the fact that it is two female leads. But it's saying, no, we're going to sell this, but saying, no, it's connected to this male franchise. They have to point it out. We have to point it out the whole time. I think it's weird, but whatever.
It is weird. But I think it's shocking to me that, with that level of names attached to it, they didn't want it, tells me it can't have been very good.
Having Union and Alba are the only reasons why I can see it might get picked up somewhere else. Because they're locked into a contract, so if someone wants to pick it up, they come attached with it. As long as they do it within a certain time period. So I could see it happening, maybe, but I don't expect it. If
they didn't want this with all that there, it's got to be a pretty bad pilot, right?
Yeah, I mean that's probably your best bet at this point. So let's get cancellations, proper cancellations this time. Starting with the CW, which actually did cancel some shows this year.
Oh, it makes a change.
I know, right? So they cancelled Valor, which was kind of expected.
Yep.
That was their army show. Very kind of off-brand for CW, so it kind of makes sense. It didn't really work for them, and it's kind of going away now. So that's fine. Because that never got a season extension, after its first 13, and then it's been kind of not mentioned since, and here we are. So it's been cancelled. Also cancelled was Life Sentence, which I don't know a whole lot about, and apparently some people were upset by this. Some people did like this show.
I don't even remember this one.
I don't really remember it either, to be honest, but maybe that's a sign.
Was this the one that, because we tried the one, not this season just gone, but the year before.
Oh, you're thinking of No Tomorrow? This is the one that sounded like that. Yeah,
was this the one that was like that? Like that?
It sounds kind of like it might have been, yeah. It was kind of a similar concept.
Yeah, I remember it was like, oh, let's just try that again.
Yeah, that may be that one, yeah. So that's been cancelled. So CW actually cancelled 2 shows. So they
got room.
It's worth mentioning as well, they didn't pick up something.
Oh?
They officially didn't pick up the Supernatural spin-off, The Wayward Sisters.
Ah, did they not?
Which is actually kind of surprising. But when you see what they have picked up later on, you can kind of look at it and say, oh, well, they didn't want like 3 of these types of shows, so they picked 2 of them.
And then they thought, well, it's fine. Supernatural's got another 6 years in it anyway.
Yeah. And as long as the two lead actors can still walk, like, we're going to have that show, basically. And even then, like, we'll have their sons.
Sure, I don't even begrudge them, because That is the most stable job they could ever ask for.
It is
as an
no,
actor.
no Jensen Ackles and Jason
The other guy.
Padalecki, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, something along those lines. Those two have got a steady job. They have went from being mid-20 something to being in their mid-30s. I mean, hell, I think we looked it up.
They've gone from being the young hot CW people to we're dads now.
Yeah, because actually, I think Eccles just hit 40, actually, so I think the other one's younger, he's like 35. But, you know, when they started the show, it was like, oh, you're 23 and I'm 28, we're the young, hot CW guys. Right. And now it's like, oh, now he should be a dad and on TV.
Exactly, but, you know, credit to, because there are some actors who, you know, they're like, oh, I want to stretch my legs, I want to do something new.
I mean, I enjoyed what I saw of that show. I might even go back at some day, you know, just because it's there to binge, because there's so much of it at this point.
True. And they seem to have a great interaction with the fans and stuff. You know, they seem to really enjoy what they're doing.
Well, and I remember there was a really cool meta episode in the chunk I watched, because there's all these jokes how some people kind of like say there's this homoerotic tension between them, and there's a really meta episode where there's this guy who gets visions, and he writes about his visions, and there's actually like fan fiction in the show of people who. It's based on them, so they actually talk about how the two brothers are sexually attracted to each other. It's like, but they're brothers, and they actually bring it up and like joke about it in the show. It's an incredibly fun show because I remember like season 1 not doing that much for me, and then season 2 I thought it really had its stride and it started being this fun, and it was still very Monster of the Week, but it used to have a lot of fun with what it was doing. And I think what makes it work and why it's lasted so long, even if the overall plots haven't been as good, because, you know, it was meant to end at season 5, and the actual plot that it started with has kind of been wrapped up.
This'll do this year.
Yeah, but I think the reason why it works is because it doesn't really matter they're getting old, because these are the sort of roles that they can keep playing until they're about 50. Because they're basically just action heroes, and you can get away with that until you're a reasonable age, really.
Hey, Liam Neeson proves it.
Exactly. So the fact that they're not necessarily on brand for the CW anymore doesn't really matter. I mean, let's be honest, we're joking because CW have really young cast members. In real terms, 35 and 40 are still perfectly attractive ages for any attractive person.
For CW, it's old.
Yeah.
It's funny because they are the older generation of the CW, and I think they treat it. You know, if you
well,
look
that's because the show started a generation ago.
No, I know, but what I was saying is in terms of like cast members. You know, you have all the Arrowverse people, all kind of they hang out together and they do all their stuff. I know, like Stephen Amell's really good friends with the Supernatural guys as well, and they kind of they're like the parents to this younger generation almost.
He would so fit as being the third brother, like the long lost brother they never knew about.
Yeah,
he would so fit in that role with Amell. But no, so Wayward Sisters isn't happening. And I've actually heard from the fan base they're actually disappointed. Apparently, the backdoor pilot,
they're really good.
They liked it. They were up for it. And so that's not happening. So that's a shame for them. But hey, you're getting like 50 seasons of Supernatural, so
it's not stopping anytime soon. So I wouldn't worry. You'll get a chance for another spin-off in a couple of years.
Yeah, they've already tried. This is like the third spin-off they've tried, so you're getting
exactly. They're not going to stop trying.
But hey, so yeah, that was the CW cancellations. ABC, couple of notable ones. Designated Survivor cancelled after 2 seasons.
Apparently that was all right. I know we only did the first episode, but I know a few people who stuck with it.
I'd heard that season 2 went kind of wonky.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Right. I didn't hear that much about season 2. I mean, I know people quite like season 1.
Yeah, and I know they lost like his wife on the show, like Kiefer Sutherland's character. His wife went to another show halfway through the season, I think. So maybe that was a sign that some people were jumping ship.
Yeah.
ABC also cancelled Quantico after 3 seasons. I only mentioned this because I love the running joke in Scream Queens that she watched Quantico, which made me think honestly that this had been on for longer than it has been. I was surprised when it was only 3 seasons. I assumed this was on like season 5.
Yeah, it was relatively new when Scream Queens was talking about it.
So I think in season 1 of Scream Queens, or season 2 of Scream Queens was when it came up.
It only had 1 season.
I think it was only on 1 season at that time, and that's maybe why.
Season 2 would have been airing roughly alongside it, right?
Yes, yeah, because Scream Queens technically was last season, even though it was before Christmas, so it feels so long ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before last, not that Christmas, the Christmas before that.
Yes.
But because the TV season goes over, yeah, you know what I mean, guys. Yeah.
September to May is your TV season.
Yeah. So that was last season, even though it's so long ago in real time now. ABC also cancelled, officially, Inhumans.
Oh, what a surprise.
They hadn't mentioned that up until now, so Inhumans has been cancelled, so bye-bye. What a shame. Yeah, we'll miss you so much. They also cancelled The Crossing after one season. And we kind of called that because the pilot wasn't terrible, but we were like, okay, we're too busy, we don't have time. And
I think it was fine, but it wasn't enough to hook people in for a season.
But I think we both said we did not see that surviving. And it felt like an ABC show that was going to get cancelled after one season. And sure enough, here we are. So moving on to NBC, we have Taken has been cancelled. NBC has taken the show from its fans.
I'm sure you made this joke like 2 months ago.
Yep.
Didn't it get pulled off the air or moved slot or something?
It did, yeah. It pulled off the air and it's airing on Saturdays, like at the start of the summer.
That's it. You made that exact joke for that.
I did, yeah.
You're the worst.
So it's gone. It's gone. Moving on to Fox, they cancelled The Exorcist after 2 seasons. Not a surprise, unfortunately, but...
No, we knew it was coming.
Yeah. They also cancelled Lucifer after 3 seasons, which, that's got a fan base, that show.
That's a little more surprising, because that seemed to be doing reasonably well.
I've seen the Save Lucifer hashtag on the Twitter.
Yeah, so. I know that had the international deals for day and date.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe they'll find a home for it. I mean, it seemed okay from the pilot, but I wasn't into checking more of it out.
I've seen bits and pieces because the girlfriend watches it, so I've seen bits as we've gone on, and it seems like a pretty decent show.
Because of the attractive male lead?
Oh, I'm sure that's all that it is.
And then Tom Welling showed up in his 40s, so I mean, you got that going as well.
To be fair, he looks like better in his 40s now than he did
then.
Does he? Okay. Yeah, he looks more respectable. He looks like he should.
I haven't seen him, and I'd heard he showed up, and I was like, oh man, what does he look like now?
He's great a bit, but he's grown into his body a bit more. He's a bit like hench. Okay. He's a bit buff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I assume his accent's just as bad though.
I'm sure.
Because he was
that extended break probably didn't help.
Nah, probably not. Oh, unless he was taking acting classes for like 5 years.
Honestly, I think he was just going, "Hey, I get to age."
I can stop pretending I mean, admittedly, the show went on for 10 years, so he was supposed to have aged for 10 years, but because they cast him when he was like 28, playing an 18-year-old, by the time he finished, he was like 36.
It was supposed to be 28, but he was almost 40. Yeah. It was like, okay.
Oh, dear. So that was Lucifer's been cancelled. Fox were on a murder spree this week because their comedy section on Sunday night, Last Man on Earth, got cancelled after 4 seasons. Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been cancelled after 5 seasons, and The Mick has been cancelled after 2 seasons. They went mad with cancellations this year. It is worth mentioning as well at the time of recording, because people were hoping Hulu would pick up Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Unfortunately, they've already passed on it. They've already said they're not taking it. It's a shame, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that was the show I was referring to earlier that I was kind of saving to binge, and now that it's basically ending, and given that Hulu passed, the chances of anyone else picking it up are fairly small.
Yeah, if Hulu didn't want it, you got to go, well, as much as people are tweeting about it there's clearly, they don't see enough of an audience to make it financially worthwhile, right?
The only hope now is PBS, but it's a bit of a long shot. Because they have they had a big deal recently for the syndication rights, so, and they do their own original content, so that is the one hope, but...
Maybe, but they've got enough for the syndication, so they don't really need to.
Yeah, I think it's the end. It's a shame, but hey, 5 seasons is a good run.
It's good. I think it's weird for a sitcom. I think 5 seasons is only okay.
That's fair, but I mean, so many shows now don't even get full 22 episode seasons. So the fact that there's 5 seasons of 20 plus episodes,
it's true. Like with a 40-minute drama, I'm like, 5 seasons. That's pretty damn good. With a sitcom, I'm like, you want to be at least getting to like 7, 8.
Yeah, but that's usually when they start going downhill. So at the very least, it never had a chance to,
No, and ended on peak form. There's no denying that.
Because I think of a lot of my favourite sitcoms that did go that long, and typically it's around 7 or 8 where it starts to kind of,
Yeah, I did see someone say earlier that they'd actually planned to go out next season.
Oh, so what, they wanted one final season?
Yeah. That's a little disappointing.
Here's hoping they can find a home for 1 year, because Community did that with Yahoo of all places. Like Yahoo, out of nowhere, we're picking up his TV show.
Hey, it worked for them.
So who knows? Maybe they'll find somewhere to do it. But
just 1 season would be nice.
I feel like I would temper your expectations. That's what I'm saying. I think it's done. I'd love for it to get another season, but I do think it's done. And honestly, as painful as that is, there was one more that hurt me more this week. There was one that cut deeper.
There is, and here's the thing, because that's a sitcom. It's like, yeah, I want more adventures with these characters, but there's not necessarily, oh, I really need more of this ongoing story.
Yeah, it's more about just having the characters in your life. Whereas this one is, no, we want to finish the goddamn story, because Sci-Fi has decided not to pick up The Expanse for any more seasons. This one is slightly more hopeful in getting a new home, though, for reasons which I'm about to tell you. So Alcon TV, who actually make the show, they actually produce it and finance it themselves. They license it to Sci-Fi, and Sci-Fi air it. So they make some money off of Sci-Fi, but Alcon are the ones who make it. They're the ones who own the show. And when this was announced, it was already in the articles, Alcon are going to look for a new home. And given that they're the ones who make it, they don't have to rely on someone else to make the show. They're just looking for someone who's willing to...
They're just looking for a distribution, essentially.
And because of that, because they already have deals, domestically they have a deal, Amazon has the streaming rights, internationally Netflix has rights to it. So those both look like good homes for future seasons of The Expanse, should either one of them want to take it. It's worth mentioning as well, this is Season 3, this is, I think, wrapping up the second book. Is Season 3, so there's at least another 5 books, and I think he's got another 1 or 2 more to actually write. So there's a lot of content, there's a lot of story left. Now, admittedly, I did see the writer, the books, who works on the show as well, on Twitter, saying 2 things. One, this season does not end in a cliffhanger, and it'll work fairly well if there is no more. But he is very much hopeful that Alcon will find a new home for it. He's optimistic.
Should be saying they, really. So it's 2 writers, isn't it? It's a pen name.
They're very true, but the Twitter is also the pen name, so
it is.
Bear with me. So yeah. I just think of James. I don't think of the 2 dudes who are actually writing the book.
Yeah.
So you know, we're going through this stress right now because we're in this limbo, and we're worrying that it might not happen. However, the future of the show might actually be better for it if we do get a better home where it doesn't matter about, because this was the thing, is that because Sci-Fi just license it for broadcast and they don't own the show, they only care about live numbers, which for a sci-fi show, for a genre show, that's not where they typically get the numbers.
Basically, it's a miracle we got 3 seasons as it is.
Yeah, because typically genre shows that have cult followings, they have the on-demand numbers, they have the live +3, they have, you know, the streaming, the Blu-rays, whatever. That's where all the nerds tend to like congregate, is all those other platforms.
The problem is that does nothing for Sci-Fi.
It does nothing for Sci-Fi. And Alcon clearly get profit off of the show. They clearly want to make more of it. So I'm hopeful we'll get more. And the show's quite frankly too good to just give up after 3 seasons. Yeah. So let's get to it.
You have to wonder how much was the licensing fee, because obviously the point here is whatever the licensing fee is versus the advertising revenue, you know, there wasn't enough profit there, and they thought, well, this slot could be used to make more profit elsewhere. So it's okay if it's, you know, Netflix or Amazon or whoever comes in, is the licensing fee going to be worth it to them? So
here's hoping Expanse finds a new home. I really hope it does. That is the one that will really sting. If that doesn't get a home, this will easily be the biggest cancellations that affected me personally in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've really been hit by a cancellation. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is the closest, and this. But
yeah,
over the last 4 or 5 years, I don't think there's been a cancellation where I've gone...
No, because I think the last time I was really worried was with like Fringe and Chuck every year. But they got final seasons where they announced, no, this is going to be the final season. This is it.
So you get your closure. You knew going in.
Yeah, and you know the writers knew going in, which is the more important part. It's one thing me not knowing, but the writers need to know so they can wrap it up and finish it and give it a send off.
Exactly,
and that's what you hope for.
And I think, speaking of this limbo, we've got to talk about the one notable exception that hasn't been mentioned yet, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat my obsession today, because this was a day where we knew all the cancellations and renewals were happening, and there was a point where ABC started doing theirs. They started, the articles were coming out. Oh, ABC have cancelled this, ABC have ordered this, ABC have renewed that, and it's like, I'm not gonna lie, there was maybe some refreshing happening on Deadline, just looking for the news.
I was out, and I was like, just check my phone, see if there's been any updates.
So obviously we're talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which does not get great ratings, and probably would have been gone last season, except for the fact that Big Daddy Disney kind of stepped in and said no.
Yeah, reportedly.
Reportedly, I believe it.
I do too, given that the ABC had no reason to save it otherwise.
They really didn't, and Disney like it because it's a good place to advertise all the stuff, all the Marvel stuff, and it ties in. I assume it probably does well with home release and streaming because it is like connected to all this stuff, and it's a damn good show. It turned into a really damn good show after a shaky first season.
Best thing in the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, I care about it more than I do most of the MCU for sure.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Our feelings on S.H.I.E.L.D. are well known. So we're waiting, and all these cancellations, because ABC cancelled a lot of stuff. They'd cancelled
getting a bit on edge.
They cancelled like a dozen things, and I'm like, man, all these cancellations. But maybe that's good for S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe having all these other shows be cancelled is a good sign for S.H.I.E.L.D. And then, so here's the timeline of events in terms of where things went later on. Chloe Bennett tweeted out just dots, dot.
It was a lot of dots. It was like 12 dots.
It was 12.
Not just the 3.
It was just that multiplied, though. It was just like the idea that she's waiting, right?
Yeah.
And then a couple, like 30 minutes later, half hour later, Leslie Goldberg from The Hollywood Reporter tweeted out, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still in contention. Decision expected in the coming days. And then someone else from another news outlet tweeted something, the same thing. Phrased differently, but the same thing. And I'm like, God damn it, you assholes! Like, just put me out of my misery already. Like, give me.
You know what the worst thing is? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this happened last year where it didn't hit the deadline. It was pushed late again. Because I've got like real deja vu about this last year. Of we didn't know on the day that we were supposed to. And we were getting really worried, and then it got picked up like the following week.
I don't remember. I know we knew for the finale, but that would track because obviously if we find out in a few days' time, it'll still be in time for the finale. So
yeah,
it does track if that's the case. But I don't remember it happening last year. But you might be right. In terms of analysing this, in terms of is this good, is this bad, I think it's good overall. It's frustrating because we want to know and we want to know it's safe, but it's good. Because I think the fact that they're saying, oh, we can't announce it today with everything else, we need to wait a couple of days, that tells me that there's negotiations happening.
Absolutely.
And it means that, like, and I saw a joke, someone said, oh, they're not allowed to cancel, you'd have to wait for the phone call from Disney to tell them what they're allowed to do and find out or not.
It's a joke, but ironically,
Bob Iger, he's too busy this weekend. He'd have to wait till Monday to get the phone call.
He's away golfing.
I think it's a good sign. There was one article that said that they seem to think that this means it's switching to the streaming service next season. But nothing else from I'm getting from these tweets is implying that to me. This just sounds like
that seems a bit of a stretch. To me.
So I'm going to be optimistic. I think it's going to happen, and I think the reason why they can't announce it for a few days is they're just finalising details on, like, okay, right, you want us to keep it, but we don't want to spend X amount of money on it, so they're just... The fact that they're not saying anything right now implies to me that both sides think it's going to happen, they just can't announce it yet.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that, all the sites that track and predict renewals and cancellations, most of them think this, they had it as likely to be renewed.
Yeah, despite the fact that I think if it was any other show, I would assume it wasn't being renewed. But
yeah, early on in the season, that's where most of these places were. But numbers have grown consistently over the season.
That's interesting.
I think last week when we had some Infinity War tie-in stuff, there were some of the highest numbers they've had in a while.
Interesting. Now, obviously, I kind of came into Season 5 prepared for it to be the last, and there's definitely been some elements of it that feel like it's the greatest hits of the entire show, but I think there's definitely more to do with these characters. There's more to tell.
I agree. Do you know what? I'm just thinking, if last episode where we did have some Infinity War tie-in was the highest rated stuff, could it be, them saying, look, Disney, we'll renew it, but you've got to let us tie in more. We need the numbers boost for it. You've got to let us be more relevant.
If they have that power to even say, give conditions, sure.
Yeah, but they're like, we're not gonna renew it otherwise, sort of thing. So it's like take your pick.
Well, you're seeing it as a force between the two, like an ultimatum. I could maybe look at it as different than that and say that no, it's Disney who are saying no. Look, we want it to tie in more next season. That's why we want it renewed, because we're going to do, because it's going to tie into Avengers 4 and like the build up to that.
I get that, but if those were the highest numbers anyway, ABC should just leap at that and be like, yeah, to tie in, do what you ever want, we'll take it.
I wouldn't want them to do it too much, but
Meh.
that'd be my concern with that. Is I kind of like that it gets to do its own thing for the most part.
I do too, on a level of the show existing in its own thing and doing its own story. But from ABC's business perspective, looking at the numbers and ratings and stuff, I understand why they want the tie-ins.
It wouldn't even surprise me though if even that's not enough. It wouldn't surprise me if ABC just don't really want it at all, but Disney own them, so so here
you gotta do what the Big Daddy says, basically.
But hey, I like it. I like that they've got a reason to strong arm them into it, because I do like the show. And I completely believe the reports from last year that they stepped in and said, no, we want this renewed. I buy it completely, because the numbers it was getting, and then the fact that they moved it to Friday, I feel like it's like, okay, we're putting this on now because we have to, but not because we necessarily would keep it around.
I think that's what it's outperformed expectations for the Friday slot,
which is good. That's good, and that probably helps. And it's kind of a shame though, because I feel like ever since season 4, getting into season 4, I've kind of went into every season kind of like worrying about it and like, is this the last one?
It's always just on the edge of your mind the whole season, isn't it?
It's always kind of on the bubble. It's at that line where it's not successful enough that it's safe, and that is stressful as a fan of the show, because I love the show. Again, I always come down to this though. As long as the writers know when to start their final episodes and they can write them accordingly, then everything's cool.
And that's the thing. Obviously, they don't know here, but they did say that no, they've planned it as if it is.
But then we'll get a season 6 anyway.
And then we'll do a season 6 anyway. But if this is the end, this works, is what they've said.
Okay. All right, so that's chill. We'll stop speculating about that. We'll move on to season premieres next. All the pickups, all the new shows that have been ordered, that's all in the new show section that we have later on. But we have some premiere dates. 13 Reasons Why season 2 is coming to Netflix on May 18th. So if you enjoyed that first season, you can get that then.
Pretty soon.
That's pretty soon.
Even for Netflix, who have a short announcement schedule, that's...
Yeah, I think that was closer to last week, that one, but yeah, even still,
it's still only 2 to 3 weeks. Usually they give you 2 months.
Also, this one was really surprising. Arrested Development season 5 is hitting May 29th.
Yeah, there was that post we spoke, because we spoke about when the recut came for season 4. Yeah. And there was the post from the creator talking about it coming. Oh, this is the remix, and he said season 5 is coming real soon. But
this is the thing. See, when he said that, and I was looking at it, I just thought because I didn't think they'd shot it yet. I thought he meant we're it's coming soon, as in, because this is the thing. It's been years since season 4, so soon, relatively speaking, isn't necessarily later the same month.
No, it's true.
I was thinking, it means he's going to shoot over the summer, and then we'll get it maybe early next year. That's what I thought soon meant. And it's no, it's end of May. It's here. Like here's a trailer. You can see all the characters here. They're all George Michael Cera's character. He's like 35. He was a teenager in the original show, and then like the first 3 seasons. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's kind of what's funny to me. I'm looking forward to checking out the recut season 4. I'm looking forward to checking out season 5. Honestly though, it's been so long since I've watched it that next time I watch it, it will be a full watch. I'm going to start from episode 1, season 1, and just do the whole thing.
I've never watched it, so maybe I'll watch it eventually.
Oh, it's a great show. I think you would appreciate the wittiness of it.
I've seen some of the jokes here or there, and I've seen some reference to some of the actors have popped up. They're in like Archer, and there've been like references to, because Archer does a lot of references to other things that the actors have been in, and they had a pairing from two of the older people from that show, and they had them in Archer and did a bunch of references. So I'm familiar with some of it.
Always Bunny in the Banana Stand.
I've seen that clip.
That's an episode 1 joke.
That's the thing. I've seen like a bits here or there, because people just send me clips and it's like, hey, watch this. All right, fine. There's a 2-minute YouTube video, sure.
And my favourite is their attorney, Bob LeBlanc. Bob
Very
LeBlanc, attorney at law. I love Arrested Development, it's so good.
So it's no bird lawyer, though, is it?
Bird lawyer?
So it's an Always Sunny joke.
Okay. If I've seen that, I don't remember it.
Ah, Charlie's always going on about being the best at bird law.
Okay. Alright. Anyway, next up, 12 Monkeys final season, which I think is the 4th season, but it's its final season, regardless. That's going to hit in June 15th. That starts on Sci-Fi. Wynonna Earp season 3 premieres July 20th on Sci-Fi. And then on the same night, so that's on at 9 PM, at 10 PM, Killjoys season 4 premieres. So your summer Sci-Fi content's all kind of lining up.
They found a new pairing for Killjoys then after they got rid of...
Dark Matter.
That's the one.
Which did have a campaign to get it moved to a new home. It failed. Expanse is a much better show, though, so come on now. Come on.
Yeah. But I think that was interesting because that was all studio politics. Because I saw an article about this where Dark Matter actually did quite well for them in terms of numbers and revenue.
Oh, okay.
What it was is when it was greenlit, there was 2 separate divisions at Sci-Fi, and one of them passed on it, and then the other one went, "No, go on, we'll have this." And then there was a merger, and it went down, and the division that passed on it was the one that was basically in charge. And they just went on a bit of a purge and was like, nah, that's getting gone.
Nah, sucks if you like that show.
Yeah.
That really does. But like we say, Sci-Fi doesn't own The Expanse, so we're good to go. Come on, Netflix.
Yes.
Netflix or Amazon, either one of you, I'd love it. Go on, do it. Anyway.
You don't need to do anything, just pay them to put it on your platform.
Yeah, great. And then finally we have a premiere date for Castle Rock from Hulu. This is the Stephen King shared universe show, which is going to air on July 25th. So they do weekly. They'll do their typical thing where they start with 3 episodes on the premiere date, and then there'll be one a week after that. So that should be an interesting show.
3 episodes. It's always oh, here you go. Here's a slog to get you going.
Yeah.
In terms of scheduling.
Yeah, in terms of us scheduling to get them all in and review them, it's a pain. But I think the worst part about it, though, is that after that, it feels really long between episodes because you get the first 3 back to back.
Yeah, and then it always feels like it's over really quickly.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, mate, I'm already on episode 7. We've only got a few weeks left because we had 3 one go.
Right.
So, first world problems. Definition of first world problems.
Pretty much.
The hot dogs and the hot dog buns do not match in numbers. I mean, it still infuriates me that they do that. Like, why? I don't even buy hot dogs for the house, but it still infuriates me.
What? I bought some earlier. It was 8 hot dogs and you get 6 buns. Well, what am I going to do now with 2 hot dogs?
They do it intentionally because to get them to match, you'd have to buy multiples that eventually...
You have to buy like 4 of each or something like that.
Well, no, you'd have to buy one more of one of them, surely.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd have to buy one more packet of buns in that ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want 20 plus hot dogs. Or 30 plus hot dogs.
Do you know what's worse? Hot dogs, yeah, they'll probably keep, right? Because they're in brine, whatever, a lot of them.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
But yeah, the buns, that bread, that's lasting me like 4 days, maybe a week.
Oh yeah, that goes off. Yeah. So basically, you need to have a party where you need like 30 plus hot dogs. Right. That's the core thing you have for them. I guess you'd do a couple of doubles. You put 2 hot dogs in 1 bun, I guess.
Do you know what's even worse? I wouldn't mind if it was more of the bread than there was the hot dogs. So I'm like, well, I'll just use that for something else. I'll put something else in the bun.
You can't use the hot dog for anything else.
No, exactly. I need the bun to have the hot dog.
Nah, chop it up and put it in pasta. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I guess, but it's not the same, is it?
Nah, it's not as good. I think for that sort of thing, you need proper smoked sausage. I don't think the hot dog's good enough.
I agree.
Hot dog's the cheap, shitty meat, which is fine for a hot dog, but...
Yeah, maybe mix it in with your beans or something.
Anyway, no tangent. This is a big episode.
I know, what are we doing?
So next up, this is just quick. The official title, which is what we expected for the Sabrina show coming from Netflix, is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So good news. I like that title. So
yep.
I'm good. I'll briefly mention some casting stories. One, is the Sinner Season 2. Why am I mentioning the Sinner Season 2? We know it's now going to be an anthology-style show, because it was meant to be a limited series, and now it's going to be an anthology show with the Bill Pullman detective character being the linking character between each season. The only reason why I'm even mentioning this is because I thought the person they've cast in it as the lead is actually really notable. Carrie Coon is the lead of the Sinner Season 2, which probably means that it's going to be good, because she typically brings some quality.
She's going to have some good acting, if nothing else. Yeah.
She brings some quality with her. Coon is going to play Vera, described as a formidable, mysterious woman who struggles between upholding the ideals of the community she leads and fulfilling her own desires. And it's a return to TV after the leftovers in Fargo, so obviously she's hot property when it comes to your acting these days. Always does a good job. Next up, Paul Blackthorne is leaving Arrow. He is leaving at the end of this season. He will not be back for season 7, at least not as a regular, which probably means he's going to be dead in the finale.
Probably. I'm pretty sure I saw an article earlier. He's already on a different show somewhere else.
Stop spoiling later news.
Oh, I'm sorry. This seemed relevant. Link your stories better.
No, it's in the news shows section that were picked up. Just...
Oh, god damn it.
Stop bringing in facts like that. Spoiling things from later. Come on. So, not much to say on that, but he's leaving, so there we go. Next up, Fiona Dourif has been cast as one of the lead roles of The Purge, the sci-fi or USA Network show, depending on which they pick.
That's actually happening.
Why are you surprised? We've brought it up like multiple times at this point.
Every time I always feel like it's not real. Like they keep telling me about it. I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like it's just never going to happen.
Dourif will play the cool and offbeat good leader Tavis, the much adored charismatic cult leader, dispensing blessings to her fawning followers. I know her from the Chucky movies. She's been in the recent Chucky, because she's actually the daughter of the guy who voices Chucky, Brad Dourif. And which they used to great effect. The last Chucky movie did some fantastic stuff with that, because she's not actually the daughter of the Chucky in the movie, but they do some fantastic stuff where she kind of has to play the role at one point, and she does an impression of her dad, and it is freaking fantastic. It's like, that thing, like body swap episodes of TV shows where the actors get to have fun impersonating the other actor. It's basically that, but because like she has her dad's DNA, as soon as she puts on the smile that her dad does, it's like it's him, and it's like the perfect version of that. It's so good. So she's in The Purge. And then next up, here we go. This is actually kind of another cancellation of sorts. Netflix have confirmed that Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Season 4 is the final season of the show. This is it, which is split in two. The first half's coming May 30th. The second half is coming sometime later in the year. It's not been said when. However, there are talks that it's going to get a movie on Netflix as a finale.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
I'm not sure it necessarily needs a movie. But...
I know it's a comedy. It's weird, yeah. But it's still good. I like this trend though. If they're cancelling a show, like we'll give them like a 2-hour thing to if they didn't have a chance to wrap it up.
It's the equivalent of when the network would go, yeah, you can have 13 episodes.
It kind of is. It's maybe not as good as that, because you want a season.
Right, but it's kind of their equivalent of, right?
I'm just hoping that future Netflix shows either know their ending, or at the very least if they get like a little mini series to wrap things up at the end. That's also that'll work. So hey, so I just wanted to get that in quickly, which means we're finally on to the pilot orders, which is the bulk of the rest. I think there's maybe one or two that aren't actual pilot orders, they're just in development, but this is pretty much all pilot orders from here on out.
And this is the real news of the week, given where we are in the year.
That first 50 minutes, that was just all...
that was just nonsense prep.
Prologue.
Yeah. Oh boy. Better be some interesting ones in here, because last year's offerings were pretty shite.
I think there's a couple of CW ones that we're definitely going to be checking out, at the very least.
Okay.
Starting with CBS.
Oh, God. I mean, at least we get them out of the way first.
Well, just the comedies. The comedy section first. CBS is doing a multi-camera comedy. They have ordered FAM. F-A-M. FAM. The slang for family, if you're unfamiliar with that term. Coming from Corinne Kingsbury, who worked on the newsroom. I think we heard about this before, but now it's got a title. I don't think it had a title.
I don't remember that title.
Yeah. In Fam, a young woman's dreams of upstanding life with her new fiancé and his upstanding family are dashed when her younger train wreck half-sister comes to live with her to escape the train wreck of a father. Nina Dorbev is going to star in it.
That was a lot of train wreck word.
It was, yes. Lots of train wrecks.
Poorly written. Use some different adjectives.
Well, I think that's the joke, that you're using train wreck twice.
I don't think it's a joke. I think it's just badly written.
Fine. We'll move on. ABC is ordered a comedy. So they've got a series order to Single Parents, and I definitely remember talking about this. Just quickly, Single Parents is an ensemble comedy that follows a group of single parents. Yeah, thanks for that.
Shit.
As they lean on each other to help raise their 7-year-old kids and maintain some kind of personal lives outside of parenthood. So that makes sense to me. It assumes they all know each other because all their kids are in a class together.
Right. Does that count as professional and personal lives?
As they maintain some kind of personal life outside of... Well, no, because parenthood's not professional. They're both personal.
Yeah, but the sentiment of what they're saying there...
No, I see the correlation. There is definitely a similarity to personal and professional lives. But I think here they get away with it because they're both personal.
Alright, fine, I won't drink.
But I see where you're coming from there.
It felt suspiciously like it.
So on to Fox, not a lot of comedies this week, most of them only have one. Fox ordered The Cool Kids, a multi-camera comedy that follows 3 guy friends in a retirement community who are the top dogs until they're blown out of the water by the newest member of the community, a female rebel who's ready to challenge their place. It's high school with 70-somethings.
Okay, I remember this one.
It's not a terrible idea.
It's not. I think it's interesting that Fox went on a cancelling spree and then they've only picked up one. So, what are they going to have on Sunday nights going forward?
I have some theories as to that.
Okay, would you care to share?
They've got one more comedy though as well, but there's talks that they might pick up the WWE and also their new football league, the XFL, when it launches next year. So they might be kind of preemptively preparing themselves for having like hours of content booked.
Right. When you say their new football league, do you mean
XFL?
Yeah. Which one's that?
That's the WWE's football league.
What sort of football are we talking about though?
American football, obviously.
Well, that's why I was asking you to specify.
No, the WWE's doing a soccer league. What?
Well, then I don't know anything about WWE.
Oh yeah, because
they're a worldwide brand.
The thing about this as well is they actually tried this in like 2000. It lasted one season and was a crippling failure. And Vince McMahon basically blew millions on it. And now he's like, you know what, it's time to come in. It's actually kind of political because the way that he's kind of driving it now is that they'll be forced to kneel for the national anthem. That's kind of one of the rules that they're putting in. So that this is your Republican safe football league is basically what they're going for here. So
I mean, if there was ever a time.
I mean, it's bullshit. But what do you want from it? All we can hope is that it's a crippling failure again.
Sure. I have no stake in it personally, but yeah, sure, why not? Fail.
I have sat through too much bad wrestling not to want him to fail at something.
This is it. I have never sat through any wrestling, good or bad, so it makes no difference to me.
I've seen too many good performers have their potential shat down a toilet because of his storylines that he enforces on them.
I literally don't know who this man is except the 3 or 4 times you've mentioned his name.
Oh, come on, you must have seen some gifs of him doing things.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know if it's him. I might have seen the gif and I couldn't put a name to the face though.
There's a few gifs. Now, Vince McMahon's he's someone worth knowing.
Let's see if I recognise his face from any gifs.
Go look up Vinnie Mac. We'll see how. Hang on.
Oh, it's that dude. I know you're on about. Okay, I know the gifs.
The gifs, yeah. There's the one where people cut different things into it, but he's sitting at a chair and he's kind of like getting all excited.
Yeah.
And he falls over at the end. There's also ones where he smells money. And
Okay, I know the dude now.
yeah, yeah.
See, I never knew his name. I've seen that gif a million times.
Well, that's Vince McMahon. Look, you're learning
Cool.
things.
Okay, context.
On this week on the comics podcast, you have to mention Vince McMahon in front of Matt and just see his reaction when you bring him up.
Slip it in somewhere.
Yeah. So, anyway, aye. So yeah, that's my theory, is that Fox are like clearing out Sunday for maybe the XFL next year. I don't know. I mean, presumably they're going to have something like this year, admittedly, but
That's what I mean. It feels weird that they wouldn't just do that next year, right?
I don't know. It's weird because I don't even know. Because the reason why the whole WWE thing has even been mentioned is because their contract with USA, which is where all their weekly cable shows are on, that's coming to an end. I think sometime next year.
It's funny. I didn't even realize they aired on a TV. I thought they were all just their own service now.
No, the what used to be pay-per-views air on the service, and all the old content goes on there for on demand.
Right. Okay.
But they still have to attract new viewers, so they still have to have like weekly shows on a more
I'm with you.
Available.
I was only ever familiar with the pay-per-view stuff, and I thought, that moved to streaming. I didn't realize there was anything other than that.
You never heard of Monday Night Raw? Never heard of that at all?
Oh, I have, but I just assumed that was on the service.
Okay, all right.
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, it's not.
Fine.
Well, it is. Like, I think after 6 months, because the TV channel doesn't want them to have their ratings impacted, it goes up there like after a time. But
right.
So all the archive old episodes are there. But yeah. Well, what was I going to say? So yeah. So one of the interesting things though is that the network they're on kind of dictates part of their direction. So people are hoping that if it does switch to say Fox, they might have a slightly different focus.
Right. Okay.
Maybe treat it more like a sport again. Even though it's pretend, but actually have some competitiveness to it, and less of the soapy drama.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
So that's the hope. But I mean, screw the XFL.
Yeah, you can just watch it anyway.
What, XFL? I'm not watching XFL.
Just for shits and giggles.
It'll be boring.
Yeah, it probably will be very boring.
I think all sports are boring to watch. You want me to watch the XFL? Come on now.
I would love to see you try and watch a full game.
Oh god, no. That would be background noise while I'm on my phone the entire time. That's what that would turn into.
Yeah.
So next up on Fox, I got another comedy. This one from Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny and Rob Rosell. It's untitled right now. It's a multi-camera series. This is off cycle. It's worth mentioning. This is not for like fall when all the other shows will be starting. It's untitled, and it follows a woman, her ex-husband, and her new wife as they work together to raise a family in Middle America. So it's basically someone said Ross and his ex-wife and her wife from Friends. That is a show on its own. Is basically the premise.
I mean, it could be fun.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a fine idea. Obviously, I'm typically not as into the multi-camera stuff at concept because
I agree, but at least this has a creator to back it up that I'm a fan of.
That is true. That is true. So we'll move on then, and we're still on comedies. Forgive me. I keep thinking we're going off, but so we're off the networks a little bit just to sort of do a few other things. We have an official series order for What We Do in the Shadows from FX. This is of course the series based on the Taika Waititi film, the mockumentary of the same name. Interestingly, I had no idea this one was going to be set in New York.
Did you not?
No, this was news to me when I read this. I was like, oh, set in New York City. Okay, so they're not just doing the same...
No, they're doing the American version, essentially.
Which can work. There's no reason why it has to be an Australian accent, or New Zealand accent, I suppose.
Yes. I think it's I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, is the funny part. I don't know if that was a genuine slip, because you're just used to it being a slip.
Do you know what I'd love to do? You know how... like one of the like criticisms of like whenever there's like you go back to prehistoric times, like you go back to like dinosaur times in a movie, they'll have like dinosaurs from like the Jurassic period and the Cretaceous period at the same time, or they'll have like maybe or maybe just in other movies where you'll have like you'll have a lion and then like the wrong kind of tiger because that's the tiger from elsewhere, from India or whatever, right? And I love the idea of making a movie and intentionally having like a kangaroo step on a kiwi fruit. just so Australians and New Zealanders get really mad. I'm just like, it's basically the same place.
I mean, you're not wrong. But my point here was, I think there's benefit to seeing, like, okay, that was the world that's set up. And we don't have to do those same characters. We can do, okay, what's the culture like differently in America?
The humour shouldn't change. The humour doesn't need to change. It can work just as well anywhere. Of course, I'm just thinking this now. Someone in the comments is going to try and explain to us now that there is kiwi fruit in Australia, and we just assumed there wasn't because no one associates them with Australia, which may be true. I don't know.
I mean, you can buy kiwi fruit anywhere. It's all imported.
Well, you can buy it. Obviously, you can buy it anyway. I'm talking about actually growing it out in the wild, and the kangaroo steps on it.
But everyone knows, it's associated with New Zealand.
Of course, yeah. So in case that sounded stupid and there is kiwi fruit growing in Australia, because it is near enough that it wouldn't surprise me if there was. But for some reason, Australia just have the copyright on it, I guess.
The problem is, New Zealand don't really have anything else. Of recognisable, in the same way in Australia you can show a kangaroo and you go, right, that's Australia.
Or the hat. The hat that Steve Irwin wears. With
the corks.
The Dundee, the Crocodile Dundee hat.
Right, they got tons of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's Australia.
They got Rose McIver now. They got Rose McIver and Middle Earth. That's the two things now.
Pretty much. With New Zealand, you got, alright, you're Kiwi. and then I'm going to Lord of the Rings, which is, it's a British creation who just happens to have filmed in New Zealand.
Because Peter Jackson's lazy and didn't want to leave his house.
Yeah. It looked nice.
That park behind my house looks quite good for the Shire. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I can shoot this from my bedroom window.
I'll just be up here with the monitor.
I'll direct up here.
Yeah.
I'll just get a loudspeaker.
Walkie-talkie. That's all you need. Walkie-talkie.
Oh, megaphone. It's got more impact.
Sure. Anyway, we're tangenting far too much for an episode with this much news. So what we do in the shadows, 10 episode, first season, going to premiere in 2019. So
I'm excited.
So that sounds,
Also,
good.
Matt Berry.
Is he in it?
Yeah. He's one of the three main
I didn't have the cast written down, but I do like Matt Berry.
I can't remember the other two. I didn't recognise the other two, but Matt Berry's one of them.
So IT Crowd, though, he was a gem from that show.
Oh, he is. I love that show, but he is the best part of that show.
I love so much of that show. And it's funny, I remember when he first appeared in that show, I was disappointed a little bit at first because we lost the guy he replaced.
His father, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have him come into the church and scream, "Father!" and it's amazing.
Do you know what? He's got that voice, and I didn't know who he reminded me of at first. It's actually Blind Blessed. He's got the exact same voice as...
You're right,
it's the exact same voice. It's the exact same voice.
It's such a great talking voice, isn't it? You'd listen to them just tell a story for hours.
Yeah. But anyway, so, yeah. And he better have his own accent. I will riot if he doesn't.
I don't think I've ever seen him not have his own accent.
You don't cast Matt Berry in something and tell him to put on an accent.
You can't take away that voice.
Alright, we'll move on then, Netflix has ordered a new comedy series from Ricky Gervais. Not a special, not a comedy special, not a stand-up, like an actual series.
I'm down, whatever it is.
It's called Afterlife. And it's not the same as that Ghost Town movie that he was in, he wrote and starred in.
I don't remember that one.
No, I remember he was seeing ghosts. He saw ghosts walking around.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hence why I saw the title Afterlife and went, what, is he just remaking his movie? But, here it is what it is. So the series follows Tony, played by Gervais, who had a perfect life. But after his wife Lisa suddenly dies, Tony changes. After contemplating taking his own life... This is a laugh a minute so far, doesn't it?
Sounds like a Ricky Gervais show to me.
He decides instead to live long enough to punish the world by saying and doing whatever he likes from now on. He thinks it's like a superpower, not caring about himself or anyone else. See, now it sounds like a funny Ricky Gervais show.
It does.
But it turns out to be tricky when everyone is trying to save the nice guy they used to know. So it sounds like it should be really funny in a really dark way, but also have a kind of a poignant emotional point when someone actually finally breaks through to him.
Yeah.
So
I'm down. I'm a huge fan of Ricky Gervais' shows.
Oh, his stand-up's good. It's been a while since I've watched one, but yeah.
I know I like his stand-up a lot, but his actual shows are just fantastic. I don't know how much of them you've watched.
I've seen The Office, and I've seen Life's Too Short, which he wasn't in a ton of, but honestly...
No, he was kind of the mastermind.
He was the mastermind, but honestly, the clips with the celebrities, where he was like the auditioning table, are easily the best. Like, you can share those clips of Johnny Depp and Liam Neeson, and they are like the reason
It's not-
to watch, because the rest of it's funny, but that's why I watched that show, because I saw those clips and went, I need to watch this. What is this thing?
Extras is pretty damn great. I don't know if you've watched that.
I haven't seen Extras.
And his crown jewel though is Derek.
So it's funny you say that, because I've heard people online say that's easily the worst and trash.
It's much more genuine and like poignant and touching than any of his other shows. You know, the other shows were all brash comedy, whereas this sounds a bit more in line with the Derek, where it's actually kind of got a point to it.
Okay. So we'll see how it goes. So that's Afterlife. Next up, Adult Swim. Well, they're doing so well with Rick and Morty that they're thinking, we'll get a few a few more shows on the go. So they've ordered a comedy called Three Busy Debras, and this is being produced by Amy Poehler's company, Paper Kite. So it's labelled as an absurdist half-hour that revolves around three disturbed housewives who live in an affluent Connecticut suburb that exists outside of the reality of life for the rest of the world. And here's the thing. I'm not sure if they mean it's literally like outside of reality, or if they're just describing because
it's just divorced from reality.
Yeah, Connecticut suburbs are so different because it's this posh area. That's...
I think if I had to guess, the joke would be that it is physically in a separate reality to represent how divorced from reality
because it says absurdist. That's the one thing that says, it probably is a real separate reality.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
But at the same time, I read the rest of it and think this is just like a satire point, not actual...
I think they're taking it to the extreme for the satire.
So it's okay. So it's got potential, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
It's funny, though, actually, when I first read the title, when I was looking through the news, I misread the title as Three Busty Debras. But I read that Amy Poehler was producing it still. I was like, Three Busty... I was like, that's funny. I wonder what that... I was thinking like some sort of like Mean Girls or Heathers type show. Because I was thinking, it's like the three bitchy girls who are all really, like, have egos because they've got big boobs. Like, I thought that's what the show was going to be until I read it. I went, that had nothing to do with boobs. Why is it called that? And then I looked back up at the title and went, Three Busy Debras. Okay, that makes more sense.
I think this is just a bit of you projecting, isn't it?
What? It's not like there was a picture. It's not like there was something to imagine.
I think that just shows where your mind is.
Shut up. Anyway, Hulu has ordered a comedy, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It's a limited series. Mindy Kaling is producing it and writing it, along with Matt Warburton, who both worked together on the Mindy Project. It is based on the 1994 film of the same name and will follow a group of friends as their lives intersect through 5 events. So I don't know if that means 5 episodes, or if they're going to, like, each event will be 2 or 3, and it'll be a longer show.
Who is this? Hulu, did you say?
Hulu.
Yeah, I would expect 10 episodes, 2 episodes per event.
Yeah, it depends what they want to do. Like, are they going to be hour longs? Are they going to be half hours? It doesn't actually say.
No, but I mean that was my assumption. I could be wrong, but
yeah, because it depends how many they want. If let's say 5, because 5 to 2, I could almost see them going as high as 15 half-hour episodes and having 3 per event.
That's possible.
I could also see it just been 5 1-hour-long episodes, depending on how they want to go with it.
Yeah. I can see them doing it, 10 half hours, so 2 for thing, but then airing them 2 per week.
Yeah, I could see that.
But just to keep it as a 10-episode order of half-hour show.
Yeah. The reason why, because I'm thinking 2 maybe too little for each event, which is why I'm thinking maybe they'll go above the usual 10. And it's because it's a one-off as well, I can see them saying, okay, well, we'll do 15 for this since it's...
It's possible,
or 12 or whatever, Although that throws off the math if we're sticking to...
Yeah. Then you got to do some complicated shenanigans.
Hey, some events are quicker than others. You don't have to devote the same amount of time to it. That's my logic. Next up, we have another Hulu order, Rami, which is based on the real-life experiences of comedian... on the comedy of Youssef. I thought I'd had different... I thought I was missing words. I thought, I'm missing part of this name. It's just Youssef, though. One word.
Okay.
The series follows Rami, a first-generation American Muslim who is on a spiritual journey in his politically divided New Jersey neighborhood. The series is described as an exploration of the challenges of what it's like being caught between an Egyptian community that thinks its life is a moral test and a millennial generation that thinks life has no consequences. So it sounds like a comedy with... with like a serious satire kind of element to it.
It sounds like the sort of comedy I don't like that much of the the autobiographical comedies.
Yeah, kind of your Master of None, your Louis, your.
Yeah, the few and far between that I find myself really liking those.
I have to
It
admit,
does happen, but
I'm in the same boat. I'm not particularly fond. I didn't like Louis, and I watched all of season 1 of Master of None, and people loved it, and I kept watching it because people loved it, and it kept doing little things that I really liked. But overall, I just wasn't in love with it. You know?
I liked season 1 a lot more than you, but I haven't gone back for Did season 2 come out? I
Yeah,
feel like it did.
it's been out for
a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't gone back for it, so take that as you will.
I think it's been at least a year since season 2 came out. So
Thought so. I thought it'd been a while.
yeah. So there you go. So that's that. So on to the big stuff then. On to the big stuff. Before we get to pilot orders, we do have to talk about DC Universe.
Oh, we do, don't we?
This is the big thing from last week that was missed. That it was like, okay, this is a shame we're not doing an episode this week because this would be the headline. This is the big thing that we'd be talking
And now it
about.
gets shafted with all the pickups and cancellations.
Yeah, I'm still going to put it in the headline though, with the thumbnail.
No, but you're biased.
Sure. So obviously there was some just news about the service in general. This is the service that's bringing us the Teen Titans show called Titans. It's bringing us the animated series Harley Quinn and Young Justice Outsiders, which is Young Justice Season 3. And they also had announced a month or two ago Metropolis, which was this prequel Superman show that was Lois and Lex doing like X-Files style mysteries. So, okay, so that's what was announced already. Basically, we got a name, DC Universe. Pretty simple, makes sense. Fair enough. We know it's coming sometime this year.
This year, yeah.
And we got key art for the shows that have been announced, barring one. We got the Titans logo, we got the animated series logo. Metropolis was missing from the logos, and they did confirm that it's being redeveloped. It's been pushed back, and they're redeveloping it.
Ideally with some different showrunners.
Ideally with different showrunners, because the showrunners were from Gotham, and we hate that show. So, yes, hopefully it's reworked into something a little bit better. That'd be nice. But out of nowhere, they kind of revealed this other show. There's another live-action show, and this one I think is genuinely exciting, because it feels like it's from a different pocket of the DC universe that we don't normally get live-action of, and because, the shows that have been announced so far, it's been mostly animation with, the one extra live-action in terms of... Because we had Titans right at the start.
50-50. Two live-action, two animated.
Okay, sure, but what I mean by that is, we got Titans and Young Justice right at the start, and then we get the Harley Quinn one somewhere along the way, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but I'm not super excited by that.
And then we got Metropolis. It's just you didn't care about that. Is the
okay.
point that you're shafting that.
The point I'm making is that this is a live action announcement that I'm excited about. I care about this because
it's a very different statement.
They revealed a logo. Hey, if I don't care, it doesn't exist. All right, that's the truth.
I think this was interesting before we get to us, is because it leaked after the DC Universe stuff. With those first three logos. 2 or 3 hours later, this leaked, and it was like, oh, okay, that's weird that they didn't just put that up with the announcement, and then they just updated it like an hour later and went, here you go.
I never saw the leak. I just saw it as official as soon as I saw it.
I saw it as the leak first.
But regardless, Swamp Thing is what we're getting. We're getting a Swamp Thing TV show, and it has been landed. It's a scripted series order at DC Universe, and it is going to be getting produced for a 2019 launch. So this is kind of the wave 2. I feel like the 2 animated shows in Titans are wave 1. That doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be there at launch, but that's the first kind of batch of shows.
Yeah.
And then this feels like it's going to be the big show to kick off wave 2.
Definitely.
And that's cool. So, based on the DC Comics characters created by Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson, the 1 hour drama series will follow the CDC researcher Abby Arcane. So they're kind of billing her as the protagonist, which I think is interesting and kind of makes some sense in some ways.
It is an interesting swerve.
Yeah, so Abby Arcane, who returns to her childhood home of Houma, Louisiana, in order to investigate a deadly swamp-borne virus. She develops a surprising bond with Satanist, with scientist Alec Holland. I don't know what happened there. With scientist Alec Holland, only to have him tragically taken from her. But as powerful forces descend on Houma, intent on exploiting the swamp's mysterious properties for their own purposes, Abby will discover that the swamp holds mystical secrets, and the potential love of her life may not be dead, after all. So I think this is interesting. I think it's interesting making her the main character and treating Swamp Thing as like, you know, almost as if this is a Beauty and the Beast style kind of story.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we'll have the horror elements and all that. I think it's smart in that if we're going to make Swamp Thing look great with like practical plus CG,
you're not following him all the time.
Yeah, they can sort of like distribute him, you know, a little bit less, and I think that may be good for in terms of making him look better. But no, I like this. I'm liking this.
I really want to know how far they go into the mythology, because at first when it's like, oh, there's this disease, and then, oh, okay, there's stuff going on in the swamp. When I was first reading this originally, I was like, okay, are they just kind of going, oh, it's just, you know, there's some disease has spread, and that's what essentially causes it. But then it talks about them. It's like I said, when I got that far, that's what I was considering. But then it goes on to talk about the mythology, you know.
Well, but even if it was that at first, it's a TV show. Like, I would assume we're going to get Anton Arcane, we're going to get the Green, we're going to get all this. Like, I think it's natural. Like, that's season 2 and 3 and stuff. Like, you know, we'll get to all that.
No, that's fair enough. It was just, you know, the way they were describing it at first had me a little concerned.
That's it. I expect we'll get some of that in season 1 as well, but they're not wanting to spoil any of that yet. So, and you know, Floronic Man, maybe we'll get him at some point.
I'm really intrigued to see what angle they take with Abby, because especially from the new 52 run of Swamp Thing, they did a lot with her there, and they you know, made her, you know, the opposite to Alec Holland in many ways, and it got pretty interesting.
It depends where they want to go with it. I think the most classic run is Alan Moore's, so they might follow that a bit more than they do the New 52. They might kind of combine them and mix and match.
They might, because this is it. Sometimes they'll go with okay, that's the iconic one. Sometimes they'll go, that's the most recent one.
Yeah. I'm excited by this because it's a completely different genre. It'll be a bit more horror focused, and you know, it's deep dark swamp.
It's produced by James Wan.
Yeah, produced by James Wan, of course. So it's got a name attached. It's a 13 episodes. Sorry, it's not. They don't actually say what this is, but I assume this is also 13 episodes. The reason why I said that is because I glanced out at the bottom of this section that I've got, and it was mentioning Metropolis being delayed, and that got a 13 episode order.
And Titans is 13.
And Titans is 13. So this one's pretty safe to assume it's also going to be 13. That seems to be the format for this network. So that's good. I'm excited by this. I think this is a great idea. It's something completely different. Because when we got Titans, it's like, well, okay, we already have Young Justice. This is a live-action Young Justice, and we have other superheroes, and we've had some Titans-like characters on the CW shows. But Swamp Thing, now that's interesting. That's different.
It is.
And yes, there was a USA Network Swamp Thing show in the 90s, but let's be honest here. The effects and the style and the quality of TV have changed a little bit in that time.
I mean, even with that Swamp Thing movie that we don't talk about.
Oh god, that's awful.
I'm expecting infinitely better than that.
Yes. Alright, next up, Hulu has made a 10-episode straight-to-series order for Light as a Feather. And this is a supernatural thriller based on a story by Zoe Arson, and has more than 2.9 million reads on Wattpad. Are you familiar with Wattpad? I am, yeah. Can you explain to me what Wattpad is?
I was under the impression it was kind of like almost like a blogging site.
Yeah, well, apparently this is a work of fiction that was written on Wattpad.
Yeah, it is like a blogging thing, right?
I'll take your word for it. I've never heard of it, if I'm honest.
I think it is.
But a story on that has been optioned into a TV show, so they're coming from all places now.
Why not?
So, created by Lee Fleming Jr., Light as a Feather follows 5 teenage girls as they deal with the supernatural fallout stemming from an innocent game of Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Have you heard of that game?
I have no idea what it is.
I've never heard of it either. I don't know if it's made up for this, but it sounds like the sort of thing that it might be a thing that I've just not heard of.
The way they were saying it there, I feel like I'm supposed to know it. I wonder if this is like something that American children are more familiar with.
Maybe. When the girls start dying off in the exact way that was predicted, the survivors must figure out why they're being targeted and whether the evil force hunting them down is one of their own. So, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Supernatural thriller show, bit of a horror vibe. It's kind of exactly the sort of thing that I'd want to have a look at.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we've learned is that there are no boundaries to what can get picked up stories between this and, Channel Zero is all drawn from creepypastas.
Then there's podcasts been turned into TV shows.
Yeah, I think, anything's fair game.
Yeah. Hell, Shit My Dad Says was a Twitter account that got turned into a TV show. It's not a good example of one, but it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so we shall move on then. So we're on to the networks now. So we're on to the bulk of the pilot season. We're here. Or not even the pilot season, sorry. The upfront season that where they're being ordered to series.
The pickup season.
CW. We'll start with them. Charmed has been picked up to series.
Cool.
I'll just quickly give you the synopsis for these shows as we go. Obviously, this is a reboot from the Three Witch Sisters show of the 90s and early 2000s. It was basically, hey, Buffy's doing well. The hit television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, that was weird.
Is doing well. Yeah, caught myself. So after the tragic death of their mother, three sisters in a college town are stunned to discover that they are witches. Soon this powerful threesome must stand together and fight the everyday and supernatural battles that all modern witches must face, from vanquishing powerful demons to toppling the patriarchy. I feel like the descriptions of TV shows love that word.
Patriarchy or toppling?
A patriarchy. Like, I feel like no one ever uses that, but for some reason I feel like I'm always reading it in these TV descriptions. They love, whenever it's a female-led show, they love using the word patriarchy.
It's true, yeah.
I don't know why, they just do. But yeah, no, this sounds okay, and this is coming from the, I believe this is from the creators of Jane the Virgin who are running this one.
It means very little to me personally.
It means a lot to me as well. I've not seen Jane the Virgin, but fans of that show are excited about this. And I think that's notable because you could say that, but like, okay, yeah, but sure, but fans of any show that the creators come from, like,
yeah.
But I don't think that's true. I feel like there's various shows where the fans won't even know who the creators are. But the fact that the fans are willing to follow the creators to another show says something to me.
15 years ago, I'd have agreed with that. I think now it's a little different. I
don't think it is. I think you're thinking of the bubble we're in. Because everyone we know knows who's creating the shows.
Right, no, but I think that's the thing. When these articles, or Twitter talks about all these people are excited because of their show.
Okay.
They're people in the bubble like us.
All right. Okay.
They're not the majority of the people watching the show. They're the people who are that passionate.
I think the point I'm making here though is I've seen people be excited about this not because it's a Charmed reboot, but because of who's doing it, because of the creative talent behind it.
I think it says they're a bit younger, doesn't it?
I don't think it does necessarily, but obviously it's the type of show that we'll check out. It's witches and shit, supernatural,
witches and shit. Yeah, that's our jam.
It is. I mean, not having Alyssa Milano is going to be tough to take.
Yeah, well, let's see who they cast.
We'll see who they cast, but that's going to be a tough act to follow, regardless of your opinion on the quality of that original show, which was never that amazing.
I don't think anyone pretends it was.
No, it was you were there for the hot ladies doing witches things. When Buffy wasn't on, you needed something supernatural to fill that void. I'll binge some Charmed in the off season.
Pretty much.
That was the legacy of Charmed. It actually ended up with more seasons, but I think that's just because bizarrely, like, people in Buffy were in demand for other things and they were ready to leave and so on. Charmed, no, we'll do an 8th season.
It was the supernatural of its day.
Yeah. Everything's bigger these days now, so now it's like 8 seasons. No, we're going to do 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice as big. But hey. So, and then we have In the Dark from CW. A flawed and irreverent blind woman is the only witness to the murder of her drug-dealing friend. After the police dismiss her story, she sets out with her dog, Pretzel, to find the killer, while also managing her colourful dating life and job she hates at the guide dog school owned by her overprotective parents. And I remember talking about this one as well, In the Dark. Not as super into this. I mean, I guess the idea of a blind person... Do you know what this is? This is the Fox Buddy Cop thing, but it's a blind person and a dog.
It is a bit, yeah.
So that's what it is. But it could be good. It could,
but I'm not like, I need to check that out.
No, I'm not either. But I mean, they could, depending on what they do with it, they could get creative with, how does a blind person?
Well, let me get back to you after we get a trailer.
There you go. That's fair. Next up, Roswell, New Mexico. That's another reboot of another WB show from the early days before it became the CW.
The generation gone by.
Yes. In fact, if I'm thinking about it, I think the original Charmed could have only have ended maybe like 2 years before Supernatural started, just to put that in perspective.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, Roswell, New Mexico. After reluctantly returning to her tourist trap hometown of Roswell, New Mexico. Thanks for that. The daughter of an undocumented immigrant discovers a shocking truth about her teenage crush, who is now a police officer. He's an alien who has kept his unearthly abilities hidden his entire life. She protects his secret as the two reconnect and begin to investigate his origins. But when a violent attack and a long-standing government cover-up point to a greater alien presence on Earth, the politics of fear and hatred threaten to expose him and destroy their deepening romance. So there you go, you got Roswell. And I think Roswell and Charmed, along with one other show that's coming up, are why Wayward Sisters didn't get picked up. Charmed especially, because it's...
They don't need it.
Yeah, very similar themes going on, especially with the Charmed show.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, so the thing is, they could easily just say Charmed set in the supernatural world. They could have a crossover, and it would work.
Yeah. Hell, they probably will.
They probably will.
So, supernatural crossover, whatever the hell it wants. Scooby-Doo included.
Yeah, that's Scooby-Doo. So, sure, why wouldn't
why
they?
not Charmed?
Why not wouldn't the crossover? And the three sisters can meet the two brothers.
It's only a matter of time before Barry Allen runs into the supernatural.
Oh, no, don't say that. I'll have to catch up.
Oh, God. That's terrifying thought.
13 seasons of that goddamn show. Don't say things like that. So yeah, that's Roswell, New Mexico. Again, it's definitely in our wheelhouse. I think it's interesting that the original show was all teenagers, and this is kind of playing it as, this is a reboot, but we're setting it where it's kind of like almost as if these characters aged. We're just doing the story at a later time in their lives.
Yeah.
With the different sort of take on it. So there you go, that's Roswell, New Mexico. Next up, also CW, All American. When a rising high school football player from South LA is recruited to play for the Beverly Hills High, the wins, the losses, the struggles of the two families from vastly different worlds, Crenshaw and Beverly Hills, begin to collide, inspired by the life of pro football player Spencer Passenger.
Oh, I'm sorry, I really zoned out during that.
That's fair. Yeah, we don't care. Zoning out is the right call.
It took me a minute to realise you were finished. I was like,
Yeah.
you're talking about football.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And then the other genre supernatural style show from the CW that was ordered, Legacies, which is the spin-off of the Vampire Diaries and the originals. We talked about this when they were speculating about it, and it's the daughter character. What was her name? Where is it? Goddamn. Hope. There you go. The Hope character. She's going to be the lead character. Along with a pair of twins, Lizzie and Josie, and other young adults of age in the most unconventional way possible. Nurtured to be the best selves in spite of their worst impulses. Will these young witches, vampires, and werewolves become the heroes they want to be, or the villains they were born to be? So that's why they don't need another show where there's demons and stuff in it, because
because they're doing Justice League Dark.
They've got Legacies, they've got Charmed, and they've still got Supernatural, which are all going to have some overlap in terms of witches and shit. So there you go.
Witches and shit. Is that how we're just summing up all Supernatural shows now?
These ones, sure.
Alright, cool.
These ones, sure. So I think that's fair. What was missing though, and has not been officially not picked up, because other stuff was, like I said, they chose not to pick up Wayward Sisters. I was a little concerned, because one of the ones that I was excited to see them have a try at was The End of the World as We Know It, which is the two ladies like team up with the alien cop to hunt down aliens. I still hope that's going to be a thing. Right now that's just kind of not been mentioned, so it might still be picked up. It could be a mid-season show, for example.
It could. Often at this point, when if we're not hearing either way definitively, to me, often that means they're going to take another look at the pilot, redoing some stuff, and maybe for the next season.
Or mid-season.
Yeah, mid-season too as well, but I often find when it's now that it ends up being the following season.
So that's all the CW shows. So they ordered a lot, and I think... obviously, Legacy is a spin-off of a show that we don't watch, so we won't be checking that out, even if it is kind of by concept in our wheelhouse. But Charmed and Roswell, I think, are definitely ones we'll be having a look at when they hit. Maybe In the Dark as well, but definitely those first two.
Yeah.
Over to NBC. They've given a series order to fantasy drama called Manifest. This is the Robert Zemeckis one. You'll remember this if you don't remember it from the title. The series revolves around a group of people on a plane who survive a turbulent flight, only to discover that the world has progressed 5 years during the time they were in the air. They return to find family and friends believing that they were dead, which leads to a deeper mystery.
Yeah, I do remember this one. I hope this has a really strong pilot to hook people in, me
Yeah.
included, because it has such a strong concept.
This is the sort of one that sounds like it could be like the next failed Lost copy. Like, you know, oh, okay, like The Crossing, it's cancelled after one
That's
season.
why I say it needs a strong pilot, because in concept, again, like, oh, I like The Crossing in concept,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
but you just need to give me a good episode to get us in.
NBC have also picked up a drama, the series called The In-Between, which was previously known as In Between Lives, so they've altered it a little bit. It's In Between, all one word. Heading into the series, it's recasting a couple of key roles. A couple of the leads have been recast. One of them was going to be, I think, was it Mira Sorvino who's on this one? Or was she in another show that was recast? I can't quite remember. But surprisingly, it's not in my little paragraph here. I thought it was. Yeah. So
Tells me it's probably not her, because
yeah, probably. Yeah. So recasting of one of the male leads, opposite star Harriet Dyer, played by in the pilot by Yusuf Gatewood. So Yusuf Gatewood's been recast. That was me getting ahead of myself and trying to remember it from another story. So Paul Blackthorne's been added to the cast of this one, which was apparently kept secret so that no one would know that he was leaving Arrow. I still think it was weird not keeping it a secret until he actually leaves, given that I'm assuming that he's going to be killed off now.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly weird that, you know, by the time they announced it was only 3 weeks away from the end.
Yeah.
It tells me that they really, you know, they weren't willing to wait till after the upfronts to announce this.
Yeah, so this is NBC as well. So had it been a CW show, I'm sure they would have played nicer and been like, "Hey, keep that quiet."
NBC kept it as long as they would, but they were like, no, we're telling this at the upfronts when we put this up. You know, we're not leaving it any longer.
Yeah, this is the cut-off, yeah. So In Between centres on Cassie Bishop, played by Dyer, who was born with a gift, though she may call it a curse. She can see and communicate with the dead, helping them with their unresolved problems, whether she likes it or not. When her longtime friend, Detective Tom Hackett, and his new partner, former FBI agent Damien Asante, need help solving a darkly puzzling murder, Cassie agrees to use her abilities. Despite her reluctance, she may have found a way to keep her demons at bay, all while solving some of the city's most challenging cases. It sounds like there's potential there, but it's probably going to be a very procedural case of the week.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, I agree.
Which doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, iZombie's kind of that a lot of the time, but iZombie's got a lot of quirkiness, a lot of fun characters.
But even that, I don't feel the need to keep up every week. You know, it's like, I'll go back and binge it.
Oh, sure, yeah. I know what you're saying. So that's NBC. On to ABC. They've ordered a drama called A Million Little Things. This is their first pickup of the year. This was their first pilot they ordered. Or first pickup of a series, I should say. I keep saying pilot. I'm too used to saying pilot's been ordered. So where are we? The series centers on a group of friends from Boston who bonded under unexpected circumstances. Some have achieved success, others are struggling in their careers and relationships, but all of them feel stuck in life. After one of them dies unexpectedly, it's just the wake-up call that the others need to finally start living. Along the way, they discover that their friends may be the only thing able to save them from themselves. So, I feel like they're going for the This Is Us kind of feel with this one.
Yeah, it sounds kind of generic.
It depends what they do with it. I feel like if they go with that sentimental This Is Us kind of tone, maybe they'll hit on something. But obviously, if they're just chasing a trend, then usually that doesn't lead well.
Like that's what I mean. The description itself sounds quite generic. It doesn't mean the show will be bad. Just, you know, I'm there going, okay, I see what you're doing.
ABC have also ordered a show called The Rookie, which stars... Now, they've said Castle star, but I'm going to correct that right now. Firefly star Nathan Fillion.
I'm not saying anything.
I already made my Buffy reference. I don't have to do it. I already made my Buffy reference.
You know, you didn't. We weren't here last week. You got two to make.
That's a good point. He also played Caleb on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was an evil priest. It was a delightful performance. Had gravitas.
Okay, all done.
I'm done. So he's going to be in this. They've cast this. I don't necessarily like the sound of this show, but I'm glad he's getting a paycheck. I'm happy for Nathan Fillion. So the
But
Rookie,
you'd rather it was a paycheck of something you'd want to watch.
of course I would, but I'm glad he's eating. Okay. So the Rookie is inspired by a true story. Fillion plays John Nolan, the oldest rookie in the LAPD. Starting over isn't easy, especially for a small-town guy, John Nolan, who after a life-altering incident is pursuing his dream of being an LAPD officer. As the force's oldest rookie, he's met with skepticism from some higher-ups who see him as just a walking midlife crisis. If he can't keep up with the young cops and the criminals, he'll be risking lives, including his own. But if he can use his life experience, determination and sense of humour to give him an edge, he may just become a success in the new chapter of his life. What I think is funny about this premise is I feel like this isn't probably that uncommon.
That's what I was like, you're telling me no one ever goes, you know what, I'll be a cop.
Yeah, in their mid-30s or 40s, like when they want to change their career. I feel like there's probably... I mean, sure, I imagine most rookies will be in their early mid-20s, right? But I feel like this isn't actually that strange.
Right.
I don't think it is anyway.
No, I don't either. I think, it's like... People just go, do you know what, I'm bored of this job, I'll go find something new. And, they go, do you know what, I don't really know what I want to do. And they'll go, go on then, I'll go police. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a job that we are trained to do the job, so, you know,
yeah.
if you're starting at the ground up, you don't necessarily have to have experience in
right,
you've
got to pass the aptitude test, etc.
Of course, there's tests to pass, but
you don't have to have previous job experience or any certain training or degrees. Nothing there that you have to have qualification wise.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a fun enough idea, but not necessarily something that I see as like, that still feels like it's not that weird.
Yeah, maybe this is just us going, we could be cops when we're 35 if we want to.
Yeah, I probably won't want to, but I could be.
Yeah, maybe this is just us going, I could do that.
I'm sure I could.
I have no desire to, but I'm sure I could.
Alright, next up, Grand Hotel, also at ABC. This is the Eva Longoria produced show. But yeah, this is a drama set at a family-owned, multicultural Miami Beach hotel. Charismatic Santiago Mendoza owns the hotel, while his glamorous second wife, Gigi, and their... Gigi. That feels like a name that someone wasn't named. That feels like a name that they picked because they wanted to sound like they belong on Real Housewives.
That's fair.
I don't know. It just sounds that way to me. Anyway, so Gigi and their adult children enjoy the spoils of success. The hotel's loyal staff round out a contemporary, fresh take on the upstairs-downstairs story. Wealthy and beautiful guests bask in luxury, but scandals, escalating debt, and explosive secrets hide beneath the picture-perfect exterior.
Oh, I want nothing to do with this.
Do you know what the only thing is I love the idea of this in concept, but not in a network.
Not the way they're selling it to me.
Like... I love the idea of a show set in a hotel where there's a lot of things going on, like the guests have got things going on, there's secrets going on, but more in like a mystery, maybe verging on thriller. Whereas this, I feel like it's going to be really light, week-to-week stories of things happening. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I can see potential in what I would want from this setting, but this is not.
You want the night manager?
I guess so. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like it probably is that kind of thing. So we'll move on. ABC, still on them. Whiskey Cavalier, if you remember that one.
I remember the title. I don't remember what it was.
It's coming. High octane, hour-long action dramedy. You got Scott Foley, and you've got what's her face from Walking Dead and Chuck, and she was Martha in Batman v Superman. Laura Cohen, I think. Lauren Cohen.
Oh yeah. Was she in Chuck?
Yeah, she was in Chuck.
I don't remember in Chuck.
She was in Chuck. She was in like season 4 of Chuck. Anyway.
What was she in Chuck?
She was the daughter of the bad guy, I think, in like season 4.
Oh, is that the one with Timothy Dalton?
I think it was Timothy Dalton's, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you now.
That's where I knew her from first, actually. So, following an emotional breakup, Agent Chase, codename Whiskey Cavalier, is assigned to work with badass CIA operative Francesca Frankie Throwbridge, codename Fiery Tribune. I like that, the codename as well.
That's a great name.
Together they lead, and obviously that's Lauren Cohen, who's the female lead. Together they lead an interagency team of flawed, funny, and heroic spies who periodically save the world and each other while navigating the rocky roads of friendship, romance, and office politics. This one, I think, has a little bit more potential than it maybe sounds on face value, because whenever they've talked about it, it sounds like it's meant to be really over the top and pulpy.
It feels like it could be quite light fun.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny that I said she was on Chuck, because I feel like this could be like a new Chuck. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
You know, codename Whiskey Cavalier, codename Friday Tribune. Like, I'm getting a kind of a Chucky, as in the show Chuck, not Chucky, as in Child's Play.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It feels like, okay, they want to do a Kingsman thing, but TV.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. It just depends how good it is, really, is ultimately where I come down. Because if they try and make it more kind of, like, if they take it a little bit too seriously, it'll instantly kill it.
Oh, absolutely. This has got to be kind of just, it's kind of shite, but it knows it is, and it has fun with it.
Yeah, or at least do things with the tropes and like comment on them as opposed to just having them. Or in the case of MacGyver's pilot, which we reviewed, just do all the tropes seriously as if no one's ever seen them before and expect for us to give a shit.
Still get nightmares about that episode.
Next up, Fox, right? Fox. Remember in MacGyver when the whole thing was that the girl had died, but then it was going to be really obvious she was working with the bad guy the entire time, and we were supposed to be surprised or not predict it. Remember that? Anyway.
Do you remember when that show just was supposed to do anything, and you were like, okay, yeah.
He barely made anything. MacGyver's whole thing is that he makes things to get out of situations, and
he kind of did. Oh, this is a parachute. That'll do.
Fox has given a series order to The Passage, based on author Justin Cronin's best-selling book trilogy of the same name. The one-hour drama is described as an epic, character-driven thriller about a secret government medical facility experimenting with a dangerous virus that could either cure all disease or cause the downfall of the human race. It focuses on a 10-year-old named Amy Belafonte, played by Sania Sidney, who is chosen to be a test subject for this experiment. And Brad Wolgast, played by Mark Paul Glazier, hey, we like him. He was on Pitch, and obviously most people know him from his younger days when he was on Saved by the Bell. But in terms of modern him with the beard, Pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the federal agent who becomes her surrogate father as he tries to protect her. What I think is funny about this is I'm pretty sure this is a vampire show, and I feel like they're disguising it now. Like they want that to be a surprise, because every other time this has come up, The Passage was their apocalyptic vampire show. So I think this disease they're talking about, that's going to like maybe be the downfall, I think it's vampire-y, at least partially.
I think you're right. What was the other show that did that recently? Where we heard about it ages, and we knew what it was. Oh, it was The Terror. You know, we knew it had the monster for ages, and then it came to the this time, with this is the pickup announcement.
Yeah,
and then there was conspicuously just no mention of it whatsoever.
Yeah, but this was definitely the vampire show, and they went back and sort of reworked the pilot, and obviously they're happy with it because
this is the one we weren't sure if it was like a present day or a future thing originally, right?
Yeah. So, because I read this description after seeing the title and went, no, I remember like so many different things about this, and this is not kind of hitting it, but I think that's because they've reworked it, but I don't know if they've taken the vampire part out of it, but if I was to guess, that disease...
Like they're just being cagey, yeah.
That disease part, I think, is what they're talking about.
I think they want it to be a reveal.
Which, for us who follow the news, tough luck, I guess.
Yeah, and weirdly, I feel like for the people who don't follow the news, that's the thing you want to go, hey, it's a vampire show. People like vampires, right?
Yeah. Maybe they're going for more of a prestigious, grounded take on the vampire.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, could be good. I don't know. Fox has ordered a drama project called Proven Innocent. This is one of the ones that's produced by Danny Strong, who of course was Jonathan on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, look. I let you have that every week when he produced another show.
3 of them, baby. That's the third one tonight.
That was cheap. You've had that exact one with this exact show.
Hey, I think it's worth mentioning that he's had like 20 shows in pilot development, and this is the only one this week at least that's popped up that I noticed his name.
Really?
So, Anyway, so formerly titled Infamy, it's now called Proven Innocent, is a legal drama set in a wrongful conviction firm led by a fierce and fearless female lawyer with a hunger for justice. The team reopens investigations putting their own lives in danger to exonerate the innocent that were proven guilty. Our lead's motivation comes from an infamous past. As a young adult, she was found guilty and later exonerated in a high-profile case where she became a tabloid sensation. household name, and national celebrity. I thought that was the end of the sentence. My apologies. I was like, shit, that's just a comma. There's more.
What did you say the new title for this was?
Proven innocent. Proven innocent.
Okay.
So
I'd have gone with wrongly convicted.
there you go. They're going for a pun though, because obviously it's innocent till proven guilty. So that's just proven innocent.
I get it.
It's a play in words.
It's not that clever though, is it?
Well, a hero and it's too long. The rest doesn't matter. You get the premise of the show.
It's a legal drama. We don't care.
Pretty much. But hey, but that does take us on to the main event. CBS.
What MacGyver have they got for me this year?
First up, God Friended Me. Questions of faith, existence, and science are explored in this humorous, uplifting series about outspoken atheist whose life is turned upside down when he is friended by God on social. Oh, they've changed it. It used to be Facebook. Now it just says social media. Because I remember it being God friends him on Facebook. And I wonder if it's because they couldn't get the rights, so they're going to have their fake.
Get a bit of a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, they're going to have their fake social media, so that's why they've changed it. Unwittingly, he becomes an agent of change in the lives and destinies of those around him. So that's God Friended Me. I'll be honest, for CBS, that's a interesting enough idea.
It is. I can see it already, though. It's the procedure. It's that each week it's like, okay, who am I going to go and whose life am I going to change this week?
I don't think I'm going to like it, but I'll give them props for having it been a little bit different.
It's a slightly more original idea than like 90% of their content.
CBS have ordered Magnum PI. Not the fun daughter one that we thought we were getting a couple of years ago.
We wanted the daughter with the mustache, didn't we?
We did. We really did. And even if she didn't have the mustache, I just think the idea of the daughter of the original Magnum. So you could have him guest, you could have Burt Reynolds guest, and then you could have the badass daughter being the new PI. Like that'd work, right? But anyway, this one's going to be an update of the classic television series set in Hawaii. Magnum PI follows Thomas Magnum, a decorated ex-Navy SEAL who, upon returning from Afghanistan, repurposes his military skills to become a private investigator. That just sounds dry as shit.
This is their MacGyver this year.
It's so dry. That got renewed I didn't put it in the news, but it got renewed.
Of course it bloody did.
Next up, CBS ordered The Red Line. This was one that didn't have a title, and we didn't know what to call it. After a white cop in Chicago mistakenly shoots and kills a black doctor, we follow the three vastly different families that all have connections with the case as the story is told from each perspective. Sounds more serialized than normal for CBS, so maybe that's... Because I think we joked at the time that maybe this is just the pilot, and then it's different stories after this, but I'll give them...
Doesn't seem to be, does it?
Yeah, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're going to explore this one case for the season. And, they could do some interesting things. I mean, I assume you'll have the victim's family, the perpetrator's family, and then maybe the lawyer who's involved in the case family, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know who the third family is, but those are definitely two of them.
Yeah.
So hey, and then finally on this pretty long for the TV news edition, we have one last show from CBS. It's called The Code. Now, I
remember this.
What would you want this to be? If I could say it's called The Code, what would you be hoping for?
I don't want to get my hopes up, because whatever I say, it's not that.
Well, this is why I'm asking. Would your mind maybe jump to I don't know, is it like some sort of AI show or
honestly, no. I think more spy thriller.
Okay, all right.
Like a code breaking sort of thing.
All right, okay. It's not that.
But, I mean, hey, I'd be down for the AI thing as well. Don't be wrong, but that wasn't my first thought.
You'll remember this when I tell you, because I remember.
I don't remember the title at all.
No, I don't think it had the title. I think it was untitled at the time.
Okay.
But you'll remember the description. The Code is the military's brightest minds take on our country's toughest challenges. Hold on. Inside the courtroom and out, where each attorney is trained as a prosecutor, a defense lawyer, an investigator, and a marine. This is every CBS show in one.
This is peak CBS.
This is the one that Mira Sorvino was going to be in and left. I knew it was coming up.
Did she leave or was she replaced?
She's been replaced, but I don't know. As is the male lead, Dave Annabelle. He's left as well. So I don't know if they just didn't like them or if they wanted to leave for other things or whatnot. I don't know what the reason is.
you know what? This is stupid. I can do better than this.
Yeah, but hey, so we're done. That's the pickup episode of the news done. We've got movie news to record after this. God damn it. What? So this is the point in the show.
Yes.
Where we pick our favourite episode of TV of the week.
We do. There's lots to choose from.
Like, I'm just going to level with everyone. I'm going to have to get a snack before we do movie news. My stomach wants food. There's going to be a snack.
That's fair.
That's going to happen whilst we prepare for the next recording. Anyway, so this week, what was this week? We had a bunch of stuff this week. We had an episode of Timeless, we had an episode of The Terror, we had an episode of Westworld, we had an episode of The Handmaid's Tale, we had an episode of Legion, we had an episode of The Expanse, please come back. We obviously did a couple of episodes of 3% from Netflix, a couple of episodes of Dear White People from Netflix. We did one episode of The Rain, which we gave up
Two
on.
episodes. We did 2 episodes of The Rain, thank you very much.
Okay, since the last... I'm just thinking this week, since Monday, but you're right, okay.
Well, I mean, our news is Friday to Friday anyway, so we would have done 2.
I'm aware of conceptually why it's 2 and not 1. I'm just saying I wasn't thinking in those terms, which is why I said 1.
Alright, fine. Also, it's been 2 weeks since they had any news anyway, so it's like, you know, whatever we say, it's like twice the amount.
That's a fair point. So
we finished off Lost in Space since the last news episode.
That's true. Other than that, though, there was no differences. It's all the same shows. Again.
I mean, you finished off Ash vs. Evil Dead as well.
And plus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is the one I hadn't mentioned yet. So, a lot of shows to pick from. This is the most exciting time of the year in terms of this conversation because there's actually a lot to pick from. So I'm going to narrow it down for everyone right now. I'm going to assume that for both of us, it's between Westworld, Handmaid's Tale, maybe Legion, Expanse. I don't think it's going to quite make it into that conversation, but it's not far away. Is there anything else I'm missing you feel like, no, that would be a contender?
Maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. That had a really strong episode.
Yeah, no, it was a good solid one. I don't know if I'd quite put it in the same league as...
That's fair.
Some of the others.
That's true. I think I just wanted to mention it because it had a really good episode.
No, that's fair.
So we've been working through 3% as well.
I mentioned that.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of those are in contention. We're just not bothering with those.
It's weird to compare the binge shows. It's maybe one thing when there's hardly any weekly shows on and it's just the binge shows. We'll just pick one of them just because. But we've got enough weekly content right now that I think we can just.
We do.
Just pick the winner. It's tough. I think out of the main 3, Westworld, Handmaid's Tale, and then Legion, right?
Mm-hmm. I think Handmaid's Tale's probably 3rd for me this week.
Okay.
I think Legion had a really interesting episode, where it was doing this concept episode, which was really unique, which maybe puts it a little bit above Handmaid's Tale for me this week.
I think emotionally, Legion did have a great ending.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'm leaning towards Handmaid's Tale at number 1. And then I'm not sure Legion and Westworld, which way around they are.
That's fair. I think, here's the thing. Handmaid's Tale was a fantastic episode, but I think it was, that was the next episode. It did what I wanted it to do, right?
Okay, sure.
Legion threw me a curveball and did this concept episode, which was okay. Yeah. And then I think I'm going Westworld number 1 because it expanded the universe quite a bit, and I'm a sucker for the expansion of the world.
Oh, that's fair. I think typically I'm going to have this fight in my head every week between Westworld and Handmaid's Tale because they both do very different things.
They do. Handmaid's Tale's hitting you with all the emotion and the core drama.
And I think what Handmaid's Tale did this week is that it kind of played with some of the conventions that it uses normally to have a different effect than usual. Like it twisted how it plays with narration. It twisted a couple of things to make it feel different, and it felt like it really was the culmination of everything she's went through so far in the show. And I think
No,
That's
no,
what.
that's true. But like, if Westworld just okay, we got all this new stuff. I'm like, oh my god, the world's so much bigger than we thought.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, here are some new rules. Here are all these things, and that gets me excited more than the emotional drama of anything does. The world building it excites me personally more.
I think Westworld was probably its weakest episode of the season yet, though, for me.
Do you think?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying that I don't even think I'd put it second this week. I think Legion would probably
Fair enough.
go above it. So,
No, I think Legion's second for me as well, and then Handmaid's Tale third.
all right. Okay, well, there you go. That's that decided. Coming up in the next week, we do actually have the Timeless finale, two-part finale, both airing together. So that's coming up this week. Also, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale, which will actually be after the next news, but it is next week, if you will, because as we were recording, the second last episode is on. So,
Yeah.
so you can see that a review of that next week. That's pretty much it in terms of new stuff coming. Although I do have some things to announce for Patreon before we go. Some exciting things to talk about. Because one of the things we've often talked about when we're doing Patreon stuff is trying to have content that appeals, bonus content that appeals to all of our audience. Because some people are here for TV stuff, some are here for movies, some are here for comic stuff. And TV is hard to do bonus content for, because you don't want to hold content back from, because it's all relevant, it's all timely, it's always, you have to have the reviews out so that the people who are watching the show care about it to actually search for the bloody thing, and so on. So we're excited to announce that we have a new tier on Patreon, a new $3 tier, which will have 2 exclusive shows. And one of them is TV related, the other one's movie related, and essentially it's Almost Cancelled Extra and 121 Extra, and they're both once a month. And it's basically, how in the news sometimes we'll start talking about, specifically this week, we'll start talking about cancellations and renewals and that process. The idea is that this extra episode a month will be a topic, and we'll talk about it for maybe an hour or something. And the first episode of the Almost Cancelled Extra will be about the renewals and cancellations and that process and just our history with it. And that versus other methods and so on and so forth. And the idea of on the bubble. We're going to talk about that topic. That'll be as the first episode.
It's these discussions that especially if you listen to this and the movie news, where we'll spend 5 minutes talking about something before we realise that, oh, hang on, there's more news. We should probably move on.
Yeah.
But instead, we'll just let it all unleash and have a proper discussion on the topic.
Yes, the idea is to take one of those bits and turn it into a full show and just have a discussion about it. And we will take recommendations for the topics. This one, of course, is timely and inspired by what's happening in the news. Sometimes that'll happen. Sometimes a TV or movie topic will just present itself because of the news. But sometimes it won't be, and we'll take some advice and other topics we can cover, different eras of TV, all that kind of thing. So it's not a TV show review, and it's not news, it's a topic based in the TV world for Almost Cancelled Extra. 121 Extra, it'll be the same thing, but for movies. And also one of the comic bonuses we do, Peter's Pull Box, there'll be one of them in the $3 tier as well. And of course, if you're already at the $5 tier or higher, you already get everything underneath it anyway, so you get this included. This is just added value. But if you are tempted to be a patron and support the channel and everything we do, there's something to offer at the $3 tier as well for TV audience. So go check it out.
It's taken a while, but we finally found something.
Yeah, we finally thought of something to do that included TV folk. So go over to patreon.com/MailedFuzzTV. You can have a look at everything on offer there and all the tiers, and see if you're interested. The first episode will be in the next couple of weeks. Next week probably, but if not, the week after. And then the 121 Extra starts next month. That'll start early June. So that's when we're kicking those off. And you'll get one of each a month. And it's just a way to have some sort of bonus content, something extra. That's not taking away anything that everyone's already used to getting, but offers something a little bit extra for people who want to show some support. So we get to give them something back in return. So head over to Patreon, have a look. But otherwise, that is us. So like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, all those other ways you can support us. Comment, let us know what you thought of the news in the comments below. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?
Come on, we got to record again.
What?
Breaking news. Come on, it's time.
I'm trying to eat.
I don't care if you want to eat. The news has no schedule.
Can I just say, right? So we're doing a little funny bit here to intro this breaking news portion of the show. And Connor, you put on like an acting voice when you're doing a bit.
It's because I'm really drunk and I can't focus.
What gets me though is that you literally just said the exact same thing in real life 2 minutes ago when you actually told me about this.
That's because that was a reaction. And now you're going, do this. I'm like, I'm too drunk.
It's not hard. I mean,
I'm going to watch Arrow and get drunk.
Because the joke is here, I'm actually, I was eating something before we got into the next thing. But we had to jump in because, just breaking news, we said that it was unlikely that Brooklyn Nine-Nine would be picked up because Hulu passed on it. However, out of nowhere, NBC came swooping in and ordered a 13-episode 6th season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And as Connor said earlier, they wanted a 6th season to be the last one, so I assume that this is just a one season. 13 episodes, wrap up your story, say goodbye to the cast.
You know, NBC are probably going, yeah, we'll sink some money into it to get some goodwill, essentially.
Yeah, no, very possibly. So... No, but so we thought it was worth mentioning this, so this will be tacked on at the end.
Well, otherwise it'd be a whole week, and then it'd just be like, well,
yeah, it happened a while ago. So that was a last minute late night thing. So here we are. So
yes,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been saved for one final season.